Good evening.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's 6:30 PM. Welcome to the meeting of the Harwich Board of Appeals on this date, September 24th. The purpose of this meeting is to hear and decide applications before the Board of Appeals, which have been brought pursuant to the bylaw of the town of Harwich and the Massachusetts Zoning Enabling Act. I'd like to have everyone introduce themselves, starting with Lisa. You're,
Lisa Shaw,
okay?
Executive Assistant.
Marilyn Roths.
Alexander Donahue.
Brian Sullivan, Chair.
Kenneth Dixon, Vice Chair.
John August.
Chris Murphy.
Okay. Also want to mention the fact that this meeting is being recorded, and anyone who wishes to record the meeting is requested to inform the chair. And you might be the first on your block to do so, but, okay. All right, I'd like to have the clerk call the first case.
Case number 2025-45. Louis and Lisa Lanzillo, owners of the property located at 15 Trinity Cove Road, assessors map 1, parcel E1-3, in RL zoning district. The applicant seeks a special permit from 32554 non-conforming structures uses to construct a deck on a pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling pursuant to the Harwich zoning bylaws, 32554 and Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 6. The Harwich Health Department comment, the property is currently served by a cesspool. Licensed septic system must be installed and a septic permit prior to the building permit sign-off. The Harwich Water, Police, Highway Department, Historic Commission submitted comments indicating they had no concerns. The Conservation Department commented that the applicant has gotten approval for a deck, driveway, and plantings.
You want to read that letter?
I'll read it now. Yeah. I have a letter here from Peter Barron. It says, "Hi, Lisa.
Yeah, it's not, I can't hear them for some reason.
The mic was on. Just bring it close to you. Put it close to you, Joe. Okay.
I live on 4 Trinity, 4 Trinity Cove Road. I'm the abutter to an abutter on 15 Trinity Cove Road. The application makes sense to us, and we have no objections." It's from Peter Barron. No other, Chairman asked the applicant, never mind. No other comments from the town departments for butters are received.
Okay, thank you. Can we have the applicant step forward, please? Is the applicant here?
Somebody from Steinbeck and Taylor is logged in.
Okay, can we have, we need to put ST on, take him off mute, please.
They just left, which the meeting.
Okay. Is there anybody else that's online? I see two other people. Can you raise your hand if you're with, involved with this case for Trinity Cove Road?
Elizabeth is not unmuted. Top right.
Okay, would you unmute Elizabeth, please? All right. Elizabeth, are you involved with this case?
I am not. No.
Okay. And Christine, are you involved with this case? Okay. Well, we're going to set this case aside, see if the folks do show up, so I'm going to request a continuance to later in this meeting. That's my motion. Anybody else in favor of that?
Second.
Second? Okay. The continuance to the end of the meeting has been approved. Let's call the next case. Okay, case number,
Somebody's calling you.
now it's too bad.
2025-46. Christopher Kelly, through their attorney, William and Michael, Kroll and Michael Donovan, owner of the property located 6 Fernwood Circle, Assessors Map.
Oh, you're on. Yes, no, you're right, excuse me, I apologize. Go, keep going. I grabbed my...
Property is located at 6 Fernwood Circle, Assessors Map 51, parcel R3-32 in the MLR1 zoning district. The applicant seeks a special permit or an alternative, a variance from 325-54A non-conforming structures and uses, and 325, attachment 2, table 2, area regulation 325, attachment 3, table 3, height and bulk regulation, to replace an existing sunroom with minimally large screen-in porch and extend the existing opening air deck to connect it to a new screened-in porch on the pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling pursuant to the Harwich zoning bylaw, 325, 52, and 54. I'm not gonna bother with that.
Okay. Okay. The Harwich Health Department commented that the property is currently served by a cesspool, which is not compliant. A screened-in porch is the minimal work that can be proposed. Should the system become a threat to public health, it shall be upgraded. Harwich Water, Police, and Highway Departments and Historic Commission submitted comments indicating they had no concerns. No other comments from other town departments or abutters was received. I'd like to ask the applicant to introduce themselves and anyone that's assisting you in your presentation.
Good evening. Michael Donovan from Kroll and Donovan Law here in Harwichport. And Mr. Kaye is right in the back here with his suit jacket on, who's here for this hearing. So this is a pretty straightforward application. They right now have in the northwest portion of the house, you can see that there's a sunroom there, and then there's a gap before there's a decking in the rear of the property. And what they're looking to do is to replace the sunroom with a larger screened-in porch, and then extend the decking that's there now so that you can walk directly out of the screened-in porch onto the deck. It's in Fernwood Circle, right off of Orleans Road, Route 39, about a half mile down from Brooks Park in the ML1 district, and the house is pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling. Kind of laid out in my papers, you know, that there's a lot of the setbacks are conforming, there's no change to those. The lot size, the frontage, and the north setback are all non-conforming, and there's no change to those as well. The screened-in porch is going to be further away from the north lot line than the existing structure is now. It's about the same where the sunroom is, which is set back. I think it's about a foot off of from where the existing house is. So there's no change to that setback either. The only changes to any nonconformities are the building coverage and the site coverage. And the building coverage is 16, and it will go to 16.9, so less than 1% increase. And the site coverage is 25.9, it will go to 27.1, so just over 1% increase on the site coverage. Other than that, I would submit that this is clearly something that's right to be decided under the Gale case, that there's no new nonconformities, there's no increase in any nonconformity but for the two site coverages that are right about a 1% increase, and that are both just barely over what's required under the zoning regulations in any event. Given this, that the proposed changes will not be substantially more detrimental to the entire neighborhood than the existing nonconformity, would not create additional negative impacts with respect to traffic, noise, odor, congestion. We would submit that this is a proper case for the application of a Gale case and the issuance of a special permit. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you. Starting with Chris.
Sounds like a pretty straightforward application of the Gale.
Yep.
Gale case.
No question.
None.
No questions.
No
I had
question.
no questions either. Obviously, it's meets fine with the Gale case and other related cases, and I see no issues with going forward and granting relief. Okay. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak regarding this case? Okay. Any additional questions from the applicant? From the applicant or to the applicant?
No.
All set there? And, okay, I want to start now by referring everyone to the case review. Attorney, do you have a copy of it?
I do, yes.
Everyone have their copies? All right. So, I'd like to first review the documentation that's been submitted with this application. That will be incorporated in the decision. Okay. Is there any additional documentation that has been noted here?
No, this all looks correct to me.
Okay. All right. Now I'd like to bring our attention to the findings in the case, which are listed. Are there any additional findings and conditions that we need to review?
The only thing is the recommended findings has the wrong address.
Yeah.
Say one, what's that?
It's, instead of 6 Fernwood Circle, it says 5 Trinity.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So I didn't,
Cut and paste got you.
Yeah.
yeah, I did. Hold on a second.
This proofreader did a bad job.
Yeah, the vice chair's off to a bad start. All right, so map and parcel is 51-R332,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay. And we'll locate this property on Fernwood Circle.
Yep.
Okay. Lisa, do me a favor, can you close the door? We're having some background noise out there, someone's talking. Okay. I appreciate it, thank you. All right, is that the only correction to the findings of facts?
Mr. Chair,
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Yeah, at number 11, it says a variance.
Okay,
It
I'm
should be
sorry.
special
Thank you.
permit. Yeah. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Now, I didn't ask a question, I will now, regarding the time frame on this and keeping trucks and vehicles on the lot.
Yeah, it's a good question. When are you looking to do this, once it's allowed? This fall? Do the construction this fall?
This fall, early spring.
Okay, yep. So this fall, I think you'd like to do it.
Okay, and will you be able to maintain vehicles on the property?
Do you have enough room for the vehicles to be on the property?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so regarding conditions, I think the general list of conditions on June 30th through Labor Day, construction vehicles on the site, you want to get rid of the June?
Yeah, I don't, it's not anywhere near the beach
Folks?
or anything.
It's not a very busy
It's not a,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
okay.
a circle that's
So
off
we can
of
certainly eliminate
Road.
item 1 on conditions. And say we'll be looking at item 2 for the construction vehicles on parked on the property and the standard violation of terms and conditions. Everybody agree with that? Okay. All right. I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the hearing documents as shown, and
As amended, I would second that.
I'm on the hearing documents at the moment. I'd also like to recommend we approve the recommended findings with the corrections as noted. Can I have a second on that, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'd like to hear a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, voting on this case tonight will be Al, Chris Murphy, John August, Kenneth Dixon, and Marilyn Ratz. And we need now to make a motion to close discussion. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ken, and I have a second, please.
Second.
Okay, second by Al. All those in favor of the motion to close our discussion?
Aye.
Okay. Any further discussion by the board? Okay, hearing none, I'd like to ask the clerk to, I gave him all of this morning, right away, you have the whole list. Right away, to grab that pile there. So it should be,
Start to record wood in here.
you pull it off there. That's firm wood, so you need to pull it out. Let me find it for you, Al, in a second. There you go, this front wood.
Case number 2025 is 46 Christopher Kelly, and through the attorney William Kroll have been granted a special permit. Special permit for non-conforming structures, uses, attachment 2, table 2, area regulation, and 325 attachment 3, table 3, height and bulk regulation, to replace a sunroom with minimally large screened-in porch, extend an existing open-air deck to connect it to a new screened-in porch on pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling, pursuant to the Harwich zoning bylaws.
That's bylaws 325, 52, 54, and MGL chapters 48, sections 6 and 10. I want to read the
During the life of the project,
no, granting is consistent with the Gale and related cases. There will be intensification of one or more existing nonconformities, no new nonconformity, and no substantial detriment to the entire neighborhood on a pre-existing nonconforming lot. And as proposed structure will not create any additional negative impacts with respect to traffic, noise, odor, and congestion. Any relief not expressly granted hereunder is hereby denied. All work shall be performed in accordance with the plan submitted with this application. Said grant and approval are subject to the following conditions. Now you can read the conditions. Okay, that for the life of the approved project, all construction vehicles will be parked on the applicant's property and not any public street or road. A violation of terms and conditions of the special permit may be enforced as a violation of the Howard zoning bylaws pursuant to MGL Chapter 48, Section 7, and the Howard zoning bylaws, that these be amended from time to time. Can we have a second on the motion, please?
Second.
Okay. All right, for the people voting, all those in favor? Vote them on.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion's approved, 5-0. You have your relief.
Thank you.
Huh? I just had to hand it to you at the beginning of the meeting.
understand now.
Oh, you can give it to me. All right. Do you have the next one for the next case? It'll be for 12 Seaway. Do you have that?
You may have them back online here if you want to do page one again.
He's going to go to the end.
Case number 20,
Good.
2025-47. Copy Dam LLC, through attorney William Kroll, Michael Donovan. Property is located at 12 Seaway, Assessors Map 2, parcel A1-65, in the RH1 zoning district. The applicant seeks a special permit or an alternative, a variant 325-54A, non-conforming structures and uses. 325 attachment 2, table 2, area regulation. 325 attachment 3, table 3, height and bulk regulation, to construct a basement from the south side to the north side of the pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling pursuant to the Howard zoning bylaw 325, 52, and 54, and Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Sections 6 and 10. The Harwich Health Department commented that the Title V report discovered minor repairs necessary. All risers and inspection port must be brought up to 6 inches of the finished grade. Harwich Water Police, Highway Department, Historic Commission submitted comments indicating they had no concerns. Conservation Department commented that approval of add fill to the floodplain, any work in the floodplain would require approval. No comments from the other town departments were received.
Okay, thank you, Al. I'd like to have the applicant introduce themselves and those who are assisting you in your presentation.
Hi, Attorney Michael Donovan from Kroll and Donovan in Harwich Port. And I don't think, yeah, my clients they live out of state, but they were going to try to make it, but it doesn't look like they have. So they are the Larsons, and I was before you in June at the hearing, at which point we obtained a special permit for a raise and replace of their house. Since that time, they wanted to make a small tweak to it, and the building commissioner required us to come back for this small tweak to the special permit that was already obtained back in June. So what we're looking to do is set forth both in the site plan and in the building plans. In the building plans, they highlighted in blue, hopefully you have it colored, yours. In the back of the property, they were just looking to have a small bump out area to kind of round off an area of the house. It does not affect the setbacks at all. So that portion itself is in the rear of the property, and you can see that there's no changes in the rear of the property with the setbacks. My papers, the rear of the property, well, when I say the rear, I guess it should be clear, because it's, there's two, it's on a corner. So it's actually what I'm calling the rear, because they use Pine Lane to come in, but it's actually over on the Seaway side, on that side there. And so it's 21.5 feet from there to the house, and this bump out is further away than that. So it hasn't changed that setback at all. The only other tweak is the stairway. When we were here before, the stairway was going to be coming from the north down into it, and now it's been flipped so that it's coming from the south, and you're entering the south and go down. And again, that change actually ended up, we were at 16.2, and now under this proposed, we're at 17.2. So it's actually increased the setback in that area. But for the fact that the building commissioner felt because we had already had a special permit, any change to it required us to come back to the ZBA. We wouldn't be here because there is no increase in any nonconformity. There's clearly no new nonconformity at all. All that's happened is we've actually increased the setback along Seaway from 16.2 to 17.2. And that's it. We would submit it. We don't think, if this had been built and we were trying to do what we're doing here, we don't think we'd even have to be here, because there's no increase in a nonconformity. And this is one of the questions that we had, that we were waiting for that town opinion on, that I was hoping to get before this hearing. But that's why these things tend to seem to come up. And it'd be nice to get some clarity that the building commissioner would know if it's not increasing any nonconformity, if it's not increasing a nonconformity, that the building commissioner has the approval, the authority to actually make that without having to come here for something like this that doesn't seem like it's needs to be in front of the ZBA. So I would just submit, again, that hopefully that hasn't been tabled, and there will be that town opinion on that issue. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, happy to answer them.
Yeah, first of all, obviously, the revision from the special permit we granted early in the summer could be considered minor. obviously. The issue at hand here is that in granting the relief before in the special permit, the sentence in the approval is that all work will be done in accordance with the plan submitted with the application.
Yeah.
And that verbiage doesn't seem to offer, much wiggle room, which the commissioner looked at and said, okay, they're making plans. I do think in discussion here that we need to perhaps consider if we are looking to change that line so it does allow the building commissioner to approve a minor change. But that's something for further discussion, particularly in this situation. If the setbacks had been decreased,
Correct, yeah.
all right, and so we're further into the setback,
Yeah.
I would absolutely think that's a no-brainer, it has to come back.
Yes, I would agree.
But where the setbacks, it actually was improved, we need to, and that opinion from the town council, I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. And perhaps that when we do get that opinion, and we have an opportunity to meet with the building commissioner to discuss situations where it's okay, you don't need to bring in the ZBA unless you want to. Okay, so this is one of those cases, perhaps.
I think it might be, yeah.
All right, okay. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak regarding this case? Actually, I first should have started off by asking if the board had any questions. I apologize. Chris?
I have no questions.
No questions.
I only have one, and that's just to understand the steps. It talks about the north side, but based on the site plan, it looks like it's on the east side. You're just saying that they reverse the way they're going down?
Yeah,
So instead of coming this direction, they come from that direction?
correct.
No
Yep.
more questions. Thank you.
Going down the upstairs staircase. Al? No questions. No? Okay. All righty. So now I can ask again, if anyone in the public wants to speak on behalf of this, and I see there are no hands flying. And at this point, no additional questions from the board. So I'd like to, do you have your staff
Yes.
narrative on this? Okay. All right, let's see how I made out this time with my pacing and so forth. All right, so application and hearing documents. Look at the 7 items. Anybody have any changes, any additions to that?
Yeah, I do. On number 5, I think the last site plan that was submitted is dated August 29th. Here it has April 14th.
Okay, August 29th?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't
That was,
pick up.
April 14th was the first date of it. I just want to be sure.
Oh, actually, it's dated April 14th and revised.
Revised.
Okay,
put
I missed that.
Yeah, last revision, maybe, because there's a bunch of revisions, but maybe just say last revision, 8/29.
Okay, thank you. Anything further?
Nothing further. no.
Okay. Now I'll look at the recommended findings, conditions, based on the documents submitted. Any discussion? Anybody have any adds to that? Attorney?
No changes.
Okay, all righty. Now, the time frame, I think it's, actually, we probably have to do everything, don't we? I don't know where we settled. I didn't go back, I should have, and how we
Yeah.
handled.
So I have the last one, and I think we would be fine if we wanted to just invoke those same conditions. It's the typical, nothing between June 30th and Labor Day.
Okay, so all 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any objections to keeping all 3? And you're right, it is in the packet, I didn't go back and relook at it. All righty. So as far as conditions, it would be the time frame of June 30th through Labor Day, the usual. The maintaining vehicles on the site. Didn't I recall the fact that they have additional property? Parking?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And the violation of terms, conditions. So we're going to go all 3 of those.
There were 2 other ones, subject to the Board of Health sign-off and subject to conservation.
Yeah, actually, we stopped doing that because they're going to be, as far as making those conditions.
Okay, because that's happened anyways, right?
'Cause
Right,
it's-
because that happened anyway, so we eliminated those conditions going forward. I think it was a suggestion that Ken made, and I thought was a good one, just to to save time on, because it will be reviewed by them regardless, okay? All right. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the documents, findings of facts, and conditions, and approve them as stipulated.
So moved.
Okay? By Ken, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's your second.
Second?
Okay, well, no, Ken already seconded it. I made the motion.
Oh,
So
okay.
Ken seconded, so it's, now, everyone can take an opportunity here, they to make a motion to close the public hearing,
So move.
okay?
Second.
All those in favor of close the public hearing?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Going to assign members voting in this case. BL, Chris Murphy, John August, and Ken Dixon, and Marilyn Rutz. I'd like to entertain a motion to close discussion.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Marilyn. Vote on the motion to close discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I don't, do we have any further discussion between the applicant and the board? Okay, none. And, Al, do you have the case in front of you for the motion?
On case number 2025-47, Carpe Diem LLC, through their attorneys, William Kroll and Michael Donovan, have been granted a special permit.
All right, 325.
Yeah.
There you go.
If I may, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just want the record to be clear. There was a change in, it was an LLC when we were here at the
Oh,
last hearing.
thank you very much. I meant to go over that. I appreciate that. So my question at hand here is, who are we making this out to?
Yeah, so this application does list the owner as these two trusts that are identified there.
So whom are we?
So it's Donald F. Larson and Elizabeth S. Larson, trustees of the Donald F. Larson Revocable
Right, yep.
Trust, and the Elizabeth S. Larson Revocable Trust.
And I need to put in as amended December 15th?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we need to record it, you know, once it hopefully gets issued. And they usually want that at the registry of what the current version of the trust is.
Okay, so do I have it on my review up front? If you look at
Yes.
the applicants.
Yes,
All right. I put down the fact that I need to change that.
I'm
So-
sorry. Yeah, you have the as amended, but you're right, I missed that. It should, the date of it, so when it says revocable trust, it should say the date of June 29th, 2005.
All right, why don't you read how you want exactly the trust
Sure.
thing to read?
So Donald F. Larson and Elizabeth S. Larson, trustees of the Donald F. Larson Revocable Trust, and then it's U/D/T, dated June 29, 2005.
U-T,
No, D
U-D
dash T,
dash T.
yeah. And when I say dash, I should be saying backslash. Sorry.
Right here.
Was it right on the application?
Yes.
All right. good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, I'll make sure that, yeah, that's
On
fine.
the application.
Okay. So that's how we want to have it.
It's kind of a mouthful, yeah.
The case was advertised on the copy dean, but we're going to ignore that.
Okay.
All right, so we will make the correction on the motion as far as to show the owner's name being, as we just stated.
Okay.
And I'll take care of that, and prior to the decision being sent, I'll send you a copy of it to make sure that there's no errors,
Okay, thank you.
okay? All right, so Al, if you might continue, with the,
Let me take care of this.
yeah, but just, you might as well continue,
Yeah.
as far as the motions.
Let's see, the applicant has been granted a special permit from 325-54A, non-conforming structures and uses and 325, Attachment 2, Table 2, Area Regulations 325, Attachment 3, Table 3, Height and Bulk Regulations, to construct a bump-out bay addition on the first and second floor and flip the stairs outdoor stairwell to the basement from the south to the north side on a pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling pursuant to the Howard zoning bylaws, 325-54, Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Sections 6 and 10. Granting is consistent with the Gale and excuse me, related cases, as there will be no intensification, be an intensification of one or more existing non-conforming, no new non-conformity, and no substantial detriment to the entire neighborhood on the pre-existing non-conforming lot, and as proposed, structure will not create additional negative impacts with respect to traffic, noise, odor, and congestion. Any relief not expressly granted hereunder is hereby denied, and all work shall be performed in accordance with the plans submitted with the application. Said grant and approval are subject to the following conditions. During the life of the project, there will be no demolition, exterior construction, no new landscaping between June 30 and Labor Day of any year. That for the life of the approved project, all construction vehicles will be parked on the property and not on the public street or road. A violation of the terms and conditions of the special permit may be enforced as a violation of Howard zoning bylaw pursuant to MGL Chapter 48, Section 7, and the Howard zoning bylaws, as these may be amended from time to time.
We have a second. Chris? And we're doing this motion again, as will be amended, on the ownership. Okay. Any further discussion by the board? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved, 5-0.
Thank you.
We unmute,
So I did call, so he can hear you, but he can't speak, so I'm going to call him on, I have him on the phone.
we're going to unmute him.
Oh,
Can we unmute ST, please?
He's done a request and
All right. The gentleman from Steinbeck and Taylor, if you could,
Can you guys hear me?
yes, we hear you now. Okay.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thank you so much. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
All right, so we need to call the case again before you start speaking, but just give me a moment. Give you a copy of the case.
What do I do? Write it down.
That was one that was just extended.
Yeah, I know.
I'll give you mine in a minute. Excuse me? No, it's actually, we're looking for 15 Trinity Cove. Give me a second.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Not yet, Al, I just want to get myself ready.
Case number 2025-45, Lewis and Lisa Lanzillo, through Stenbeck and Taylor, Inc., owners of the property located at 15 Trinity Code, Assessors Map 1, Parcel E1-3 in the zone, the RL zoning district. The applicant seeks a special permit from 325 non-conforming structures and uses to reconstruct a deck on pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling pursuant to the Howard zoning bylaws, 325-54 and Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 6.
Okay.
The Howard Health Department commented that the property is currently served by a cesspool. A licensed septic install must apply for a septic permit prior to the building permit sign-off. The Howard's Water, Police, Highway Department, and Historic Commission submitted comments indicating they had no concerns. Well, the case involved Mr. Barron, right?
Okay, the Conservation Department commented the applicants have gotten approval for a deck, driveway, and plantings, and we have a letter from Peter Barrow in 4 Trinity Cove Road, who's in favor of the application. and no other comments from other town departments or butters were received. So I'd like to ask the applicant or representatives to introduce themselves, and I gather you're online. Do you have any chance, sir, that, Mr. Steinbeck, that you've got a video so we can see you, or you're just going to?
Give me 1 minute. I might be able to plug that back in. 1 minute. I'll see if that works. Camera. Okay, yep.
Thank you. Okay, if you introduce yourself, please, and anyone, is there anybody else online on your case that's going to be heard?
It is just me, and my name is Noah White, and I'm from Sept and Taylor, land surveyors out of Marshfield. Our project is number 15 Trinity Cove Road, and so we are just seeking a ZBA special permit to replace an existing, pre-existing non-conforming deck on the west side, and we are also replacing and expanding an existing deck on the east side of the house, and the expansion is going to be going over an existing patio, so it will not be increasing any coverages. The comment from the health department about the site being served by a cesspool, that is incorrect, because we pulled the installer as-built of the new septic that was done, let me see, the site plan was from July 29, 2024, and then the as-built is from August 13th, 2024. So there is a new septic system that is servicing the house.
Oh, that's
And that
great.
seems to be the only
You'll still need to have the health department sign off on the building permit application.
Okay. So the only reason they didn't is because they didn't realize that they had records of a as-built.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. All right, I mean, I think that's it. It's a pretty straightforward, we're not creating any new nonconformities, the lot. So if there's any questions, I can answer.
Okay. When is this, what is the time frame on any potential, on your work?
I guess it's going to be started as soon as we get approval. So most likely this winter.
Parking shouldn't be a problem. I mean, it's a dead-end street with plenty of room.
Yeah, regarding conditions, I don't think we need to concern ourselves and
I don't think we need one or two.
need to, well, we can leave one in case they don't get to it, but we really don't need one or two, do we?
It's 2 decks.
Yeah, so one's gone, two's gone. Okay, the only condition would be the standard violation terms.
Yep.
We all kind of agree on that? Okay. Well, first of all, I am in favor of, I think it meets the requirements of the Gale case and other related cases, so I don't see any problems with this going forward. Questions? Marilyn? Al?
No questions.
Okay. Chris?
This is for the future discussion in a few minutes. This is the classic case that it seems like the building commission should be able to approve this right off.
Yeah, I would agree. It's not changing footprints and so forth.
Nothing.
This should be a no-brainer and I don't think should, perhaps, and of course, that's an issue that for discussion later.
Right, exactly.
You know, and
Classic case right here.
in discussion with town council, as far as her opinion. Okay. Is there anyone in the public that wants to speak to this? I hope our last case of the day has people from the public speaking. I mean, we just need to get more involvement here. People got to get engaged in this community. Okay. All right.
I think they're all here for the 40B, it looks like, I'd guess, if there's a bunch
Well,
of, if
perhaps,
there's a big crowd.
we have a sewer application that's going to be, okay. Is there, no one in the public wants to speak, so let's move forward and take a look at the my report regarding conditions and so forth. Do you, applicant, do you have a copy of my September 30th review of this case?
Let's see here.
September 20th.
I'm not
Oh,
100%
sorry,
sure that I have
sorry,
it. I
September
just have
20th.
something dated September 20th.
That's it, it's September 20th, I apologize.
Oh, yep, I have that.
Starts out the application special permit going down. All right, so first core of business is on the, at the bottom of the first page, we're going to start reviewing the application and hearing documents that have been presented in this case. So we have item 1 through, on the other side, 6. Speaking to both to the board and the applicant, and then we just lost connection.
Yeah, we've been losing connection all night, so I'll come back.
Okay, okay, we're back. All right.
Oh, yep.
Okay, is there anything that's, any changes to the list of hearing documents that have been included in this case, 1 through 6? Do I have all the dates correct on your site plans?
Let's see. 8/18/2025, yep. That
Okay,
looks good, yep.
all right, now we're going to go to the recommended findings and conditions based upon the documents submitted, as well as discussed during this hearing. Those are items next to 1 to 11. Do we have any changes, folks?
Line 2 should be 15, not 5. Trinity.
Okay, 15, thank you. Good catch. All right. Noel, do you have any, everything look fine as far as the conditions and so forth and findings? Okay.
On 6, it's just grammar, but it should be TOO, not TWO. Or TO.
Yeah, okay, good point. Yep. Okay,
2 and 2.
yes, thank you.
Also.
It's, you think spell check would catch these things, right?
Well, it's
They'll probably
it's
changed
not used right.
Yeah, that's true, it could have, you know? All right, is that T-O or T-O-O? No, it's T-O.
One TO.
Oh, T-O.
That's
Okay.
true on 5 and 6, by the way. The fourth word in number 5.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Get Rachel back.
Yeah.
well, English wasn't my best subject, but I try. All right. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve the documents, application, the documents included in this thing, as well as approve the recommended findings and conditions based upon documents submitted to the state with the correction in grammar and the actual number of Trinity Cove. Can I- all right, second on that? Okay, second by Ken. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to ask for a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
And to vote on closing, all those in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to assign members on voting this case. It'll be Al, Chris Murphy, John August, Kenneth Dixon, and Melon Ratz. Okay, do you have the, okay.
Yeah.
And I'd like now to hear a motion to close all discussion.
So moved.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
okay. Let's vote on the motion to close discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, I'd like to now ask any further discussion by the board and the applicant. Okay, hear none. And I'd like to ask the clerk now to read the motion in this case.
Case number 2025-45, Lewis and Lisa Lanzello, through Steinbeck and Taylor, Inc. They are the owners of property located at 15 Trinity Cove Road, Assessors Map 1, Parcel E1-3, in the RL zoning district. The applicant has been granted a special permit from 32554 non-conforming structures and uses, and 2C to reconstruct a deck in the pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling pursuant to the Howard zoning bylaws of 32554 and Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 6. Granting is consistent with the Gale and related cases, as there will be no intensification of one or more existing nonconformities and no new nonconformity and no substantial detriment to the entire neighborhood. In the pre-existing nonconforming lot, and as the proposed structure will not create additional negative impact with respect to traffic, noise, odor, and congestion. Any relief not expressly granted hereunder is hereby denied, and all work shall be performed in accordance with the plan submitted with the application. Said grant and approval are subject to the following conditions.
Just 3.
Just this one, number 3, that's it?
It's just 3.
Okay. A violation of the terms and conditions of the special permit may be enforced as a violation of the Howard zoning bylaws pursuant to the Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 7, and the Howard zoning bylaw, as these may be amended from time to time.
Can I hear a second? A motion. Okay, Chris? Any further discussion? Any revision of the motion needed? Okay, hearing none. On to a vote on the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is granted. And we're not connected. Your motion has been approved.
Oh, great.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Okay. Well, folks, come on up on the next case. And perhaps, Tony, you pull another chair up for Amy?
I can sit back here.
Oh, no, we want to see you up front, Amy. This is you're a frontline gal.
Heavy hitter.
Do you want to sit right here? No, you're fine, okay.
Okay. Al, if you could call the next case.
Would you pronounce your last name for me, sir?
Skiavi.
Schiavi. Okay.
Perfect.
I'd like to get that correct. Case number 2025-44, Town of Harwich. Through Anthony Schiavi, interim town administrator, Town of Harwich. 732 Main Street, Harwich, Mass. 02645. The property is located at 15 Wales Road, Assessors Map 73, Parcel F1-78, in the RR zoning district, the Six Ponds District, Special District, I should say. The lot is legally and pre-existing non-conforming lot, and the applicant seeks a variance from 325 attachment to table to area regulations 325-18G. Additional regulations, setback regulations for accessory structure for the municipal-owned sewer pumping station pursuant to the Howard zoning bylaws in Chapter 325-52 and Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 10. The Highway and Harwich Highway and Health, Water, and Police Departments and Historic Commissions submitted indicating no concerns. Letter from Christine Morrison.
I'm going to pull that letter out.
She's on screen.
I apologize. In a second.
33 Lakeway Lane, outlining questions with the appearance of the municipal sewer pumping station. And there was a letter.
Yes, there is. Hold on a second. Okay. This letter was to Lisa Shaw, the administrator, and I think I'll, might as well read it now. I think you folks have a copy of the letter.
I haven't seen it, no.
Okay, well, I'll get it over to you in a second here. Thank you for returning my voicemail. I will get through all that. She's the owner of 33 Lake Way Lane in Abutter, which is across the street from 15 Wales Road, parcel listed in the above abutters notices. Again, she indicated that to share these questions on the phone, and she also indicates the fact that she read the appeals board application. So she has the following questions, which probably you'd like to, address, and I'll hand you this letter afterwards.
Sure.
Is it a building? If so, how large? If not, what is the structure? I know you're going to be going over these things. Are there pipes coming out of the ground that are visible? Are they enclosed in a structure? Is there a fence around the structure? Is there noise related to the pumping station? Is there odor related to the pumping station? Are there lights and alarms related to the pumping station? And she provided these questions so that perhaps during your presentation, they might be addressed. Okay? So, I'd like to ask the applicant to introduce themselves and those who are assisting you in your presentation.
Absolutely. Anthony Schiavi, Interim Town Administrator, Town of Harwich. To my right is Brandon Nowakowski from GHD, one of our engineers. To my left is Amy Questle, Town Council. And online we have Elizabeth Cheeseman, also from GHD, to help us through the presentation. So I'm sure you're all aware that towns embarked on a rather substantial and aggressive sewering project, most of which is in East Harwich at this point in time, primarily to address water quality issues in the Pleasant Bay watershed. Most of that was Phase 2 and Phase 3. We're before you tonight with this application as we expand our sewering into what we call Phase 3A, which is the Great Sand Lakes that was approved at town meeting this past May. As you can imagine, most of the infrastructure is below ground, but we have various pumping stations in various points to ensure that the system operates as designed. Some of those you've seen are actual fairly good-sized buildings around town in the East Harwich area. This particular one is a below-ground pumping station in a rather small structure, only about 61 square feet, so it's really a shed versus a building. But it does house critical infrastructure for the sewering project. I'll turn it over to the engineer just to give a brief outline and probably answer some of the residents' questions that live across the street. I think most of those, as I look at them, are things that we've already discussed and I'm sure are taken care of through the engineering effort. So I'll hand it over to Brandon to just briefly go over the project, and then we can answer any more detailed questions that the board may have.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we had the next phase of our Phase 3A sewer project, as Tony mentioned. Just to answer some questions about the site, I guess, itself, building, like Tony also said, about 60 square feet. It stands about 10 feet now, 10 foot 7 inches tall, roughly. That's the only building above grade. There's a buried valve and meter vault, as well as the submersible pump station that's all below grade. So only above grade structure would be the building, and then also a generator, a backup generator as well. There is no fencing. Noise and odor should be regulated there. We're not anticipating anything additional there, and maybe Liz can add a little bit more there. And then lighting, I believe, will be all manually operated.
I'm sorry, say that again about the lighting? I didn't quite catch that.
Should be manual. Is that right, Liz?
It is a manual. Lighting is what's planned, so if there's somebody doing work, so like if there's for the enclosure of the electrical equipment, which is what the shed is, there's interior lighting in the top, and then there is a light that would shine if there is an alarm that is going off. The lighting shouldn't leave the area. Looking to see, and if I may, I can share some drawings for visual.
Mr. Chair, would you like her to share those visuals?
Yes, why don't you could just real quick, if there's something you share, so people can see that maybe, thank you.
Sure. So this is a example of what the electrical enclosure would look like with a height of a little over 10.5 feet. It's and 61 square feet, as stated before. And then these the pump station, as you can see, is mostly below grade, with 6 inches above grade.
So the only lighting is going to be when people are at the site doing maintenance work or inspection.
That's correct.
Other than that, you will be in,
That is correct.
you will be in darkness.
Unless there's an alarm, so that's pretty
Unless there's
standard.
an alarm,
Right.
okay. Okay.
If I may, through the chair, Liz, could you
Yeah,
just,
there's a planned light for at the wet well, at the meter valve vault, inside the enclosure, and then at the generator, if there's work that's needed.
okay. Through the chair, Liz, if you could please just answer a couple more of Ms. Morrison's questions here. Are there going to be any the pipes exposed on the outside of the shed? Will all that be below grade that's coming out of the submersible pump?
Everything would be below grade. There's one vent that would be above grade, and sorry, I'm gonna scroll to that profile again. Here, this is the pipe, which is a bypass connection that would be above grade.
Okay. So just a
And
vent?
then
Okay.
a vent here, but that's it.
Now, regarding the vent, one of the questions here is any odor that be related to this pumping station.
I vent for the exhaust.
It's not, it would be similar to what your other stations, I would expect to be minimal.
Yeah.
We're meeting Massachusetts, so per design, we're meeting the change in air exchange needed for the pumps. So minimal amount of time, maximum amount of time that's allowed to stay, and meeting that design criteria to minimize odor.
So the actual odor is not necessarily a sewer exhaust, but it's because of the operation of the motors and the pumping station, is that correct? For their air exchange?
It's the space in the submersible. There is a chance for odor, but it's anticipated to be minimal.
So Liz, are those type of events at the other pump stations, I bring it up only because the town has not had any
No, we haven't.
any complaints at all related to any odor from the pump. So is that, we have that in other places, correct?
That is correct.
So mitigated.
What's that?
through
It's
design.
regulated by the state as well. Yeah, we have to meet the design criteria by the state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Along those lines, it seems to me that this is almost identical to a project we approved about a year ago or a year ago.
That's correct, substantially similar, yes.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman, I think you're on about number 6 or 7 of these from phase 1 to now. So, correct. And in this one, there's actually, a question as to if we really need to be here, because it's only 61 square feet, and so anything under 200 square feet, you do not need a building permit for. However, under the zoning bylaw, a structure is, it's a very common definition for structure, and it's very general and broad. So it says, a combination of materials assembled at a fixed location to give support or shelter such as a building, bridge, trestle, tower, framework, retaining wall, tank, tunnel, tent, stadium pool, reviewing stand, platform, bin, or the like. So because we think that this falls under the definition of structure, we are here for the variance, even though it's only 61 square feet.
If I might comment, it does qualify as a shed, but given a shed permit, which we've more than once have had those cases in front of us because their setbacks were going to be within the required setback requirement. And your setback in this situation is 0.
Right.
For something under 100 square feet, it has to be a 5-foot setback, and you're at 0. So obviously, that's one reason why you have to be here.
Absolutely.
For the relief from the board. Okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
Well, I have my key question here is as far as, and I know it shouldn't be a problem, is that you have a 0 setback, but further, you're looking to extend into the town's right-of-way. So, we've had past cases like that where it was indicated the fact that if they, approval would be required, by the select board, in order to, have anything intrude, any part of a structure, whether above or below ground, in the town's right-of-way. And my question here is, or one thing I'd be looking to condition this for, is the fact that this project does get the approval written as far as from the select board, or whatever the agency is in town, but I believe there's a select board, to approve the fact that you're going to have part of the accessory building and/or part of the structure in the town's right-of-way.
Yeah, so I've talked to town council about this previously. I'll let her address that and our view on that as it relates to what you just said. So we have a opinion on that.
Sure, so it's a town structure in the town right-of-way.
Right.
So there is no approval, there's no easement, there's nothing necessary. So it would be, there's also an argument that town meeting already approved it when they approved the phase. So there is no further authorization necessary. There have been times when the select board had to obtain easements from private property owners. That happened, we had 4 of those in the past, back in phase 2 of phase 2, we had 4 structures that were on private property. We had to get easements for those. Here, we do not need to get an easement.
Okay.
So condition number 17, we would ask that condition 17 be deleted because the draft condition says granting of the variance is subject to approval by the Harwich Select Board for the structure, and that's something we can't obtain because we don't need. So we would ask that that condition not be implemented.
I understand. Okay, thank you. Is there, that's my only question. Any questions from the board? Chris?
No questions.
No questions.
John?
No questions.
My question is this. This is in a residential neighborhood, and even though I live nearly across the street from this, I haven't been able to get over and look at the piece of property. Is it wooded, semi-wooded? How will it be treated so that it is not an eyesore in the neighborhood?
Yeah, my understanding, and Liz, you can chime in here in a second. My understanding, it's heavily, well, I'll say it is a wooded area. We've already minimized the impact by only taking down the trees that we need to in order to put the structure there and leave all the remaining trees. Liz, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And there will be some 3 to 4 man rocks that will delineate the 50-foot wetland buffer and the station. And then also a wooden barrier is planned between the generator and the roadway.
And we'll be before Concom next, Conservation Commission next week. And they have their own set of conditions that they've spoken to us about, again, just to ensure that we're staying as far away as possible from the buffered wetlands that are in the area, so.
When I was on site, there was an archaeological survey being done at the time. There was a group that was authorized by GHD because of the state
Through that
required
whole area, yes.
archaeological surveys. If there are any arrowheads and so forth that are found, because he was actually, commenting that that's one of the things they try to do. If they find one bore and they find something interesting, they have to do more bores. Will these results be given to the Historic Commission so they have that and any artifacts which they find?
Yeah, I think my understanding by state law, they're required to
Yes.
stop what they're doing and bring in the appropriate folks to take a look at that if they do uncover something of that nature.
That
yes.
goes through Massachusetts Historical Commission.
Sort of to follow up on the previous question, as I understand it, the entire lot's owned by the town, right?
Yes.
So placing it right on the corner is an effort not to disturb anything else.
That's the primary reason to stay as far away as possible, yeah. And we'll be putting, I think, I don't know if you heard Liz speak, but that we'll be putting boulders along the delineation line, again, as another, barrier to make sure while the work's going on that it stays out of the sensitive area there. That's why we're up so close to the street, to protect the wetland area.
All righty. Any further questions at the moment?
No.
Okay. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak? Please. And if you might go to the podium, appreciate it. And
Celine Federici, and I'm the other abutter. I live at 12 Wales Road, and so I have a few questions. I had a question about the lights, but the lady answered that. Is there any sound that's going to be emitted from the
From the pump,
The pump
the pumps are submersible, so they're in the ground. Can you comment on from the generator in an emergency situation if the generator was running? Liz?
The generator, sure. The generator would have a soundproof enclosure to minimize sound and minimize, I think they need to stay below 60 decibels for that.
I don't understand what 60 decibels is.
It's a noise, 60 decibels is a level of noise.
I understand that, but how loud
How would
is
you
60
rate,
decibels?
how would you rate that?
I guess one thing to keep in mind, if I might ask, just comment, that this is only if power is lost in an emergency situation. So this generator is...
Oh, okay.
So this generator is going to kick in at the same time, perhaps, that you might lose power in your home. And, it won't be any worse, I wouldn't imagine, than any other neighbor that might have a generator, next to your property. But it's that generator-type noise you're going to be hearing. Again, in emergency situations.
A lot less than a generator.
Household
Yes.
refrigerators, 50.
And it'd actually be muffled
Yes.
to a certain extent.
So, yeah, so just, 60 to 70 decibels is normal conversation. Your refrigerator's 55 decibels, right? So it's just like we're talking here. So it's got a soundproof enclosure, but it's also in another enclosure, which is the shed, which again will help to buffer the noise, but it's for emergencies situations is when the generator would run.
So what's the MO? Like, what begins first? Is it the pump house, or they do the streets? And is there a time frame for this already scheduled?
So right now, and Liz, I'll speak here and just correct me, her question was construction phasing. So right now, we're anticipated to be issuing construction documents in June of 26, of 2026, so next June for construction documents. Do you have an estimate of when construction would start? We got to go through the bidding process,
Yeah.
obviously, which takes time.
So we have to be bid and under
Contract.
contract by June 30th of 2026.
Correct, yep.
So construction, by the time you get through submittals, and getting all of that set up, it'd probably be a start of fall of 2026. We have not worked through order of what would be, constructed first, the pump station or the, where they'd start with
Right,
the sewer.
okay. So
But,
it'll be at least a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's at least a year, probably into 2028 for completion.
Now, she mentioned a fence that's going to be, no?
There's a wooden barrier.
Oh,
A wooden barrier?
That would be between the generator and the roadway, just to help protect
So somebody
the,
goes into it.
that structure, the generator.
So that's to protect the building, so nobody runs into it with a car or whatever, so it's to protect,
Okay,
yeah.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for speaking. Appreciate it.
And it is conservation land, so it is a little bit far back from the road.
Just to remind myself and the board, this is an accessory structure, and it's an accessory to actually the piping. The sewer piping is actually the main structure.
Correct.
So I know we had this first case a year or so ago, it was a question of, okay, how do you have an accessory structure without a main structure? And the main structure is actually the piping.
In the ground, right.
It's the entire sewer
Sewer,
system.
right, okay. All right. Is there anyone else I want to speak to this? Okay. Hearing none, I'd like to go over the list of findings of facts. Do you have a copy? I can give you one.
I have one.
I
Thank you.
have
All right, so we first have the application hearing documents that were submitted. Just wanted to confirm that I've included everything. The board take a look at that, as well as the applicant. Anything missing?
Just on item 7, the data was, I believe, September 22nd for the...
Oh, yeah, that's right, you
issuance
haven't
of
had that yet. Thank you very much.
2025.
Appreciate that.
And that's on the front.
How can the appeal be before the denial?
Well, that's a great question, and I think basically it was assumed that it would be, a standard denial would be happening, and of course, with the absence of, appropriate people in the department, okay?
Went ahead and filed the
It
appeal,
had- Right,
expecting the...
right, so we'll,
We're forward-thinking.
we'll approve the fact that the applicant was able to send in an appeal before they, not in due course. Okay, so now we have recommended findings and conditions, and we are, I think, the only change so far that was discussed is that we're going to eliminate item 17,
Correct.
okay? That would be removed. Are there any other recommended findings, and conditions that are missing in here? And while we're saying this, I don't believe we need anything to do with maintaining vehicles on the site, nor do we need the times thing. So, Al, when we do the motion, we're going to eliminate, it'll only be item 3 when we do the motion. So anything to add to the recommended findings?
No.
Mr. Chairman, I would only ask, do we need to make it subject to receipt of a denial letter?
You have one.
We have-
It was issued on the 22nd.
Yeah, we do have the denial letter.
What was your question, John? We didn't have it?
how the
Oh, they
appeal
filed it.
could be dated.
It was filed the 22nd.
Objection.
Got it.
It was signed, it was, yes, by the previous building commissioner signed it. Okay. Okay. So, that being the case, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the documents, findings of facts, and the conditions of approval as stipulated. Can I have a second on that, please?
Second.
Second by Chris. All those in favor?
Aye.
And I'd like to ask a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
second by Marilyn. Vote on the closing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Going to assign vote in the case tonight. There'd be Al, Chris Murphy, John August, Kenneth Dixon, and Marilyn Ratz. And I'd like to entertain a motion to close discussion.
So moved. Second.
Vote on the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any further discussion by the board with the applicant?
No.
Okay. Have it? Sorry, here you go.
Right, thank you.
I'd like to ask the clerk to make a motion, please.
Case number 2025-44, Town of Harwich, through the Assistant Interim Town Manager, Town of Harwich, 732 Main Street, Harwich, Mass. 02645, the property located at 15 Wales Road, Assessors Map 73, parcel F1-78. The applicant has been granted a variance from 325, Attachment 2, Table 2, Area Regulation 325, 18G, additional regulations, setbacks, regulation for accessory structure for municipal-owned sewer pumping station pursuant to the Harwich zoning bylaws of 32552 and the Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 10. As the failure of the board to make this grant will result in substantial hardship to the applicant, the Town of Harwich, the board further finds the conditions is specific to this property and does not generally affect the entire district. There will be no substantial detriment to the public good by granting the variance, and granting will nullify the substantial degrade from the intent and purpose of the bylaw. All work shall be performed in accordance with the plans said grant and approved are subject to the following conditions. A violation of the terms and conditions of the variance may be enforced by a violation of the Harwich zoning bylaw pursuant to General Law, Chapter 48, Section 7, and the Harwich zoning bylaw as they may be amended from time to time.
Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Second by Chris. Okay. Any further information, any division of the motion and so forth? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. And
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tony, you were successful in your first case before the board. I mean, it was
Right.
close call there for a while. I was pulling for you.
I know you were.
I'm here for the next one, too, so.
Oh, you are, okay.
We're all set, and I'm going to draft the decision. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really matters, get ready at 8 o'clock almost.
We're getting close, so we're going to do a few minutes of other items before we hear the next case. Okay. So I just like to make a motion, we just change the agenda for the moment to now address a couple of other items. All those in favor of changing the agenda? Okay. Okay, that's approved. All right. So, first item, if I can find it, is that we have the minutes from the last meeting. So we have minutes from August 27th, the general meeting. I did not see anything to correct. Did anybody see any corrections? Okay. All right, so I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from the meeting on August 27th, 2025. All those, have a second on that?
Second.
Second by Chris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. It's approved, 6-0. Okay. The next item is on the old business. First of all, is there any new business that anyone wants to discuss? Okay. No new business. On the old business, we want to do a discussion on the recommended zoning changes that, and Ken, if you could take it away.
Yes, I've received some suggestions. John gave me one today in writing, actually a list of about 4 in writing. Chris, you provided a few via email. Marilyn, Al, I have not received anything from you in that regard. Brian, I've obviously received a 2.5-page document from you as well as a potential draft amendment.
You know, give me a keyboard. I go at it.
It's a start, and so as I understand it, is Christine here? She is as well. I understand there's been a task force recommended between planning and ZBA.
We are working with administration to come up with a makeup of a working committee.
Excellent. And then dates will obviously come along as well.
Correct.
And so it'll be my responsibility to do a compilation of the suggestions that I've received. I've asked them to be specific so I can date chapter and verse of what we're looking to do, looking for, as we refer to it, low-hanging fruit, things that we all agree that make some common sense, and we're going to start there. This is the beginning of a very long process. This is not a short-term game. There will be some things we would hope to get accomplished in order for the annual meeting in May, because these have to be approved with, I believe, a 2/3 majority to change a bylaw, or 3/4 majority, I think.
2/3.
2/3 to approve a majority to change this bylaw, and it will be an ongoing. This may last years, but we're going to start out with the things that we can address first.
It makes everything more efficient if the building department doesn't have to touch the paperwork 3 times, and we're not getting it, and this stuff's, most of it's clear that it's under court, the state law, the state case, so it should be approved. So.
And case law versus, right, relative to, not necessarily MGL, but by case law.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's my report.
Yeah, yeah, on that same note, and I appreciate that, nicely done, Ken. Ken's been working pretty hard at this. I had an opportunity to have a brief meeting with the new building commissioner, all right, and Eleanor, and I kind of, discussed with her some typical, I just want you guys aware of this, and so if you need me to let her know that I spoke out of turn, but there have been some standard things which the lack of building commissioners in discussions with them have stopped doing, okay, which is, for instance, basements. You know, under the bylaw, if it's a non-conforming lot, and someone is adding habitable space within the setback, it's, by the bylaw, it's required to go in front of the zoning board, okay? And we saw, previously, in the last couple of years, there's just a host of people coming in and want to renovate their basements. Of course, they still have to get approval from the Board of Health, and they still have to get other approvals if needed. And we're seeing these cases when, quite frankly, it was approved 100% of the time. So, since the last building commissioner, he had been going forward and issuing, building permits, obviously with the appropriate plans and approvals from other regulatory agencies, such as whether it's conservation or the water department, or particularly Board of Health, as it might involve bedrooms. So we have not been seeing those cases. And I discussed that with her, okay? The other thing which we started to look at, and Amy is here, so she maybe can throw in her 2 cents. The board has started to look at bulkheads, which are basically steps coming out of the basement, and a small set of steps coming out of the basement. And looking at it, and the last building inspector looked at it, that is very similar to steps coming out of the side of your house, like from your kitchen, in a stoop. So he was approving having a small small height bulkheads of being inside of the setback. So we have not been seeing those, and those have been getting approved by the past building inspector as far as being fine. And we've also looked at them as well. So those are two items I brought to her attention that we've been doing as standard practices. But, it's obviously up to her, how she wants to proceed in those things, not, because they are written in the codes. Amy, what is your opinion of a small little bulkhead coming out of the side of the house?
Well, I guess first I'm a little confused as to why a basement that's already in the setback, just because it's being converted to habitable, why that would come before you.
It was coming before, it's just very similar, other cases we have where people are doing projects that don't increase the footprint into the setback. Like, for instance, raise and replace.
Right.
So it has been, it was coming in front of us because the building commissioner felt there was additional habitable space being added, and per the bylaw, as we understood it, if you increase habitable space within a setback, it had to come for a special permit.
For non-conforming.
So for pre-existing non-conforming, under case law, if you are going to increase the cube of the house, so if you're within a setback and you go up, that would have to come to you. When you have a basement, it's already there. You can only look at the structure. You can't look at habitable or not habitable. So if someone's going to increase their basement and go to the 0 line, they can't do that because whether it's habitable or not habitable, they have to come to you if they're going to increase the basement. If the basement is already there, it's pre-existing non-conforming. They can convert it to habitable, they can leave it uninhabitable. That has nothing to do with zoning.
We were seeing those from the previous building commissioner, not the last one, but before him, and we used to have, two cases a month.
So technically, zoning is not allowed to look at the inside of a structure.
That's correct.
So we are not allowed to limit bedrooms, we are not allowed to limit bathrooms, we're not allowed to limit habitable space or uninhabitable space. The only times technically when habitable and uninhabitable come into play is sometimes with height, with half walls and things like that for attics, but I don't think your bylaw is as complicated as others that I've seen with regard to height. But technically, the standard is that you are not allowed to look at the inside of the building.
There is a provision, though, in the bylaw that says you can't have more than two habitable floors.
Yeah.
It's in
I wouldn't want to have to defend that.
I know, but to the commission.
We might want to, Ken, you might want to put that on your list.
I think I have it tabbed here.
So, and that, again, you know what, John, that could go to height, because there's many ways to determine height. Some do it by stories, some do it by floors, and some do it by feet. So it could be habitable floors, maybe?
And that's where I think the first time I encountered it was when we had one of these basement ones on a house that was already 2 stories. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, there's something in zoning that says you can't have more than 2 habitable floors. So can you do a basement on a 2-story house?
What's that number?
I'll find it for you shortly.
What's the ruling we were talking about?
Raise and replace when you're not increasing the nonconformity of the setback.
Do you have an opinion? You've been asked for that opinion?
Yes.
So your bylaw, with regard to nonconforming, we need to do some things to it.
Okay.
So,
Not bad.
okay.
And what are your unsolicited thoughts this moment regarding little steps coming out of the bulkhead coming out of the basement?
That would be up to the building commissioner, if the building commissioner felt that that was a structure or not.
But wouldn't that be, again, and I'm probably stretching a little here, but 325-18F, where it says projections into required yards or other open spaces are permitted subject to the following. And the second was open terrace or steps, stoops, or similar structure under 4 feet in height.
Steps going up or steps going down? So that's what we were hanging our hat on.
It's going down, right? I
Right.
mean,
Doesn't matter, just the steps.
yeah, I mean, if the steps were coming out, they could have projected halfway into the set-off. Why can't steps go in?
Previously to Tom, the other building commissioners were looking at that as being, you know, a nonconformity when it went into the setback, but
F2. Maybe that can just be clarified to say, bulkheads.
With regard to this bulkhead, many of these homes are built back in the turn of the century and up through 1968. Those bulkheads step out, and they're at least 8 to 9 inches off the ground
25, 20.
at the opening, when the bulkhead cover opens up. And there's generally 8 stairs going down. Now, nothing's going to be added to the front of that bulkhead.
that's right.
So that would be pre-existing non-conforming and it can stay.
Right. Okay. All righty, well, I think,
So worth looking at.
Yeah, 325-20 is the
Got it.
one that says no more than 2 stories. Human occupation.
okay, we're going to ask the clerk to call the next case.
All right, case number 2025-21, Queen Anne Acres LLC and Mid-Cape Church Homes, Inc., doing business at Pine Oaks Village Homes. The case has been continued from September 17, 2025 hearing.
Oh, my God, I apologize.
That's okay.
Gave you the wrong one. Yeah, let's just make this thing continued from, that's correct, okay, we're all set.
That's what it was.
Yeah, yep. Yeah. So, guys, ladies, obviously, we're going to spend tonight, I think, in the review of where we're at and how we're going to go forward. So, I had, I think, as a start, and again, we're just going to, I did this outline just to list all the current issues and topics for discussion. Does everyone have a copy of this? Did you have this? This is the one I sent you. It should be in your folder. Yeah. It's this right here.
Yesterday.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Does everyone have this?
Yeah, I have that.
That's something you should review as well.
Good point. So it's,
Especially pages 3 and 4.
boy, I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you, Chris. Well, first of all, today, sent everything, we're in receipt of a letter from the applicant. Dear Mr. Sullivan, this will confirm that the applicant has agreed to extend the 180-day time period within which the public hearing is to be closed from October 21st, 2025 to November 20th, 2025, with the expectation that the board will not need to take the full 40 days after the closing to make and file a decision. Thank you. Very true. Yours, Peter L. Freeman. I think you all have a copy of that letter? Okay. Amy, I think you received it?
I got it. Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Might have a hard time finding it, a lot of dates in there.
Okay. So, all right. I first thought, and unless everyone would disagree, I want to start off to determine what we think we've completed, that we don't need any additional discussion, testimony, or whatever, for a public hearing. And I just made a listing, and there may be others to consider, but I made a listing of all the topics that we've had so far during the hearings to date. And I thought we could start off by just checking off any items we feel still has further discussion. So reminder, we have 2 hearings that have been scheduled. October 14th, and the next day, October 15th. And we're going to be looking at, as part of this meeting, particularly what our agenda is going to be going forward on the 14th for starters. But key for those dates to those last 2 meetings, and I hope we have an opportunity to complete all of our public hearings by the 15th. We do have the opportunity, the applicants agreed to extend, so if we need to extend, that's great. You know, we'll do our best to extend and schedule a hearing. But I first want to look at, you know, what needs to be reviewed further and what topics we don't need to review. So, did everyone agree with that idea going forward as far as looking at the status? Okay. So traffic and safety, do we feel we need to discuss that anything further?
No.
Okay,
We've pretty well covered that.
all right. On the site itself, road width and parking issues.
I think we've heard not once but twice from our traffic engineer, from our peer reviewer, that they're okay as proposed at 20-foot with 8-foot parallel parking. So I would say, my opinion is no.
I agree.
Okay. And there's also the issue of the amount of parking spaces and locations on the site plan as well.
I think that's been addressed.
Okay. Overall site plan. Does anyone feel they need any items they need to discuss? Now, one thing on this, and as we get into, and Christina's here, and she's been a member of the committee regarding, as far as, not a board member, but member of the committee during this whole discussion. I did go back over today, and I started looking at VHB summary responses on everything. And regarding the site plans, you know, they've indicated a handful of things that they think that need to still be addressed on the site. So we do need, as far as on the actual site itself, to look at. I mean, I'm fine with the site it is, but there have been some detailed recommendations by VHB which on issues that need to be addressed.
Like what?
Well, those are things like the removal of the topsoil in the roadway and things like that, or?
I had to go back into detail, look at it, so I mean,
Question that didn't get answered. That was a
Yeah.
recommendation.
so what I'd like
Just a
to,
recommendation when they were building the roadway to strip the topsoil,
Yeah.
you know, to a certain depth, which I guess was not included in the plans. And they-
Recommendation or requirement?
I don't think it was a recommendation from the, I think it was a requirement.
So
Right,
if
I'll
I
give you-
may, peer review, the peer review reports, they start out and they whittle their way down. So they start out and each comment gets addressed, and they get addressed, but there's always comments left that have to be conditions, that we have to make conditions part of the decision. So a lot of those things are something that we would condition.
for instance, on their, they have a memorandum of August 18th, okay, from VHB. Pavement markings, signage, and so forth. This is on the site plan. So we need to, and I don't know what extent we have to be conditioning these things.
No, that stuff should be on the site plan.
Okay,
So they have those, so they will address those.
so that's, we're going to be seeing that. Stop signs and lines should be installed along minor approaches. Okay?
That could be conditioned, but
Yeah.
that's easy enough for them to just put on.
Traffic calming measures should be considered on the site areas where the geometry may promote increased speed travel. So the key thing is, the key recommendations from VHB, how do we get that from this point into conditions that are going to be on the decision?
Not all of those are conditions. Some of those still need to be addressed by the applicant.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when will the applicant, do you feel, be able to get back to us regarding these conditions?
Well, the applicant has offered extra time, so I think we need to take him up on that, or take them up on the extra time.
So, and Christine, is there any opportunity to think that the timeframe you've been speaking to the peer, you know, to the VHB or perhaps the applicant's engineers, can they, do you feel, be able to get this information to us, say, by the 15th
We can ask them.
Of October.
of October?
Provide an another summary. They did submit an extensive reply at the last public hearing.
Right.
So, you know, we should go through those items and highlight what specifically we want to be added and what is still remaining.
Are we still waiting on a response from the applicant on those, though?
I will need to go back and
Okay,
check
yeah,
for the site plan,
okay.
because I know VHB did submit another three-page response to the 35-page
Right.
response that was submitted the day before the public hearing, or the day of public hearing.
So, one thing, Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure if Judy Barrett is on.
No, I don't see her.
Okay, so Judy might feel differently, but in my opinion, having a hearing on the 14th and having a hearing on the 15th will not accomplish much. Because after the hearings, our peer reviewers and their engineers have to go back and do homework. So having back-to-back meetings is probably would be productive once you close the hearing, and we're talking about, it's just us, and we're talking about waivers, and we're talking about conditions, et cetera. But if we're looking to get additional information, I don't know how we could get the night of the 14th, and then we're going to go back on the night of the 15th. I don't know how we're going to get information.
Well, no, I was looking at that as far as being other items, like, for instance, we have a slew of waivers to go through. So I'm looking at, we're going to be probably using a complete meeting, possibly, to review waivers.
So this is a working meeting for us, not necessarily with.
We can still, no, I think when we're going for the waivers, I would want the applicant to be there and have an opportunity to speak regarding those waivers. So it would be a full public hearing. And I feel the fact that there should be public comment period time, you know, for town residents to comment about the waivers we review, and they should be able to speak to that effect.
So if that's the case, we're definitely going to have to go into November.
Okay.
Because the waivers are going to bring up more questions. So it's just the way it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it right now that, you know, one of those dates, the 14th to the 15th, we're buried in review of the waivers.
Okay.
Okay, that's how I'm looking at it, but looking for your advice. But we do have to go through that, and I think that's going to be between public comment period and a discussion. I think that's going to eat up a full meeting.
I hope not, but you might be right.
Yeah. And I hope I'm wrong, but, and it's, you know, and I'd love to be able to adjourn at 8:15 versus whatever, but I do think we're going to need to dedicate one of those meetings to waivers, okay? So would, is there, Christine, so do you have their final, the applicant's response to the site plan issues from VHB?
Yes, from
Okay.
VHB as well as from the applicant.
All right. Would it make sense that myself and another board member just sit down with you, go through it to isolate and give some recommendations of what conditions that we're going to bring to the next hearing? Would that be workable?
Sure, that'd be fine.
All right. Is there anyone on the board here that'd like to participate in that discussion with Christine, with me?
I'm available to, but I'm not going to take that role if someone else has an interest.
I mean, any of us could do it, yeah.
Okay. What is good in your calendar, Christine?
Get back to you.
I mean, because you don't have much to do these days. I mean, I realize it, you know, it's, you know, between this and all the other things going on, but seriously, what would be good in your schedule to meet?
I'll follow up with you.
All right,
I'll
so
need to check my.
We'll figure 2 hours,
Okay.
all right?
Yep.
As a time frame. And let's sit down and at least go over, at least begin to go over, starting with a site plan and so forth, and let's isolate all the conditions that have been recommended by VHB and as well as TRC. Okay,
As well as what the applicant has already suggested they would do.
right, okay? So let's start off with at least 1 2-hour session, and if we can knock that off next week at some point. So Chris, do you want to take part of that?
If I'm available, sure.
Okay, I'll check, and if Chris isn't, I'll work down the line, okay? All right, John, would you be available to have that kind of meeting at some point? No. Okay, but,
I am.
you're right, okay.
Not
And I'll
until later.
also, it'll be helpful to just make sure that Amy and Judy are both copied on anything that we.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't-
so
it's-
that they have
yeah,
an
it's-
opportunity to
I just want to start getting these things, and I did have, and I'll get it further, I will get to it in a minute, I did a draft of conditions concept with, on conservation, which I went over with Amy, and she's updating it and so forth, and I'll get in that in a minute. I wanted, again, to start getting by department, by topic, these conditions written out so that, we can move this along while we're young. Okay. And again, I know we're going to be going into November. It's between that and the deliberation period, and though it's not a factor in this particular hearing, but, our schedule is going to be even tighter coming up in December with a possible opportunity for another CPA being laying in our laps.
I did have a question, if I can ask you, just about the conditions and everything. Because I know at the last meeting, there was a lot of discussion, which I think got off track a little bit about like pesticides and stuff like that.
Yep.
If it's an issue that's a matter of law or regulation, right, already, we've got to expect that people follow the law, right?
Unless
So-
we waive it.
Well, unless it's a specific waiver, and I don't think that waiver was interpreted the way it really
Well, we
was
conditioned it.
meant. But I don't envision us getting into conditioning things that are already a matter of law or regulation, right?
Correct.
Because the
Mass
expectation is
DEP.
people will follow, yeah.
Yes.
So, again, assuming, whatever way the vote goes, but I think, that could just be an endless task to try to get into things that are already regulated
You-
and should be
you
regulated.
can't.
Yeah, we have to expect
you
that
absolutely
that
cannot.
people follow the law, right?
You have to, you have to stay in your lane. So
Yeah.
Mass DEP is going to regulate pesticides, Mass DEP is going to regulate wastewater, Mass DEP is going
Yeah,
to
so like,
regulate water.
I
So
have some further questions around like the wastewater and what, the monitoring normally will take place, and the requirement to like refresh that carbon barrier they talked about and stuff like that. If that's already covered on regulation,
it is.
to me, that's not something that should be finding its way into a long list of conditions.
In
The only
fact, the regulations under 760 CMR 56 state that you cannot regulate anything that is regulated by the state.
Yeah, so things like test wells and things like that.
So that's a half a page of their requested waivers are all things that are regulated by another agency.
I think those are regulated by Board of Health.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about state. Yep.
Yeah, so if there's a requirement under the wastewater treatment plant for them to be doing regular well testing and filing those tests and stuff like that, because I know there were some questions about, are you going to require that? Well, we can't require things that are already under the purview of somebody else, right?
So
Correct.
Are the waivers basically to get, in many ways, the town out of the way so the state can have approvals and not over this? Like, we can have conflicting regulations, we'll give away with the state, therefore will become.
Yes, because for example, under the Wetland Protection Act, which is a state statute, towns can enact a bylaw that is more stringent.
Right.
So, and Harwich does have a bylaw that's more stringent. So they are going to ask for that bylaw to be waived.
So the state
So
and then it's
they
okay.
still have to go before the Conservation Commission under the Wetland Protection Act, under the state act. But they won't have to go under the bylaw if it's waived. The other thing, because they're doing wastewater treatment, we don't really need to deal with a lot of the Board of Health. A lot of the Board of Health regulations are more stringent than Title V, but they're not looking for a Title V system, so we don't have to go, deal with that too much. The other thing, I guess, this, the waiver list that we have, it's the Excel spreadsheet, and it says draft August 10th. Was that the draft from the applicant or from you on
For
August 10th?
me, on August 10th, I put
Okay.
that list together.
So that's the other thing, is that I find it's very rare that an applicant does not update the waiver list before the close of the hearing.
Yes, and they have that list, and I've asked them to update.
Okay, great, because we don't want to go
Is there a
through,
date to get it back to us?
because we don't want to have a meeting to go through waivers for waivers they're not asking for anymore.
I will I think the request was to do it for the next, for the next scheduled hearing, which at that point was October 15th. But I'll send out a note to the attorney and request that he update us, prior to the 14th, if he could in that report.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
John, do you see the first page? 32520?
Storage for human occupation, that's-
now,
It's in there.
You're right, you are right. I stand corrected.
all right, so anyways, we'll schedule a meeting next week for a session to start going over all the recommendations from VHB and LCRL, I can't remember the initials of some of these peer group companies, and so we come up with a list of conditions. When that gets done, and after we send it out to the board and to Amy for review, and after Amy's approval, my recommendation would be the fact that at some point here, of forwarding that to the applicant so they're aware of these conditions that we may be, being considered, so they can have an opportunity to, to comment upon them. And what's your recommendation on that, Amy?
My recommendation on that is if you would like to do that, we need to build in quite a bit of time. So there's a couple ways that I've handled 40Bs where the applicant will, the board will close the public hearing to any more evidence. You don't officially close the hearing, and then you work with the applicant on a decision. But you have to keep the hearing open to work with the applicant on a decision. Or we close the hearing and then we have 40 days to deliberate, and it's only amongst us. So the applicant cannot weigh in. So we can't do that until we have all of the information before us and we know what we're doing, because we can't do it piecemeal. It's just too confusing and it would just take up too much time. So if you anticipate that we will be done by November 20th with all of the evidence, we will have all of the evidence before us by November 20th, we can ask the applicant to keep the hearing open while we work through a decision with them. And that's up to Attorney Freeman whether he wants to do that or not. I've had times with him, I've had 40Bs with him where he's asked for it to be closed. But again, that every 40B is different, and that could have been his client. He generally I'm able to work with him pretty well. So, but that would ultimately be up to him. He's given us till November 20th. There's no way that we will be able to go back and forth with them in a public hearing by November 20th, unless we have 4 public hearings between now and November 20th. But we still don't have all of the evidence before you, as far as I know.
Let me ask a question. So they've agreed to extend it to November 20th. We feel we still don't have everything we need. Is that grounds for denial? And at that point, we have 40 days to render a decision.
Correct. It's not necessarily grounds for a denial. It's grounds for us to make conditions that, we would have to condition certain information be submitted. It would make it very, very difficult, Ken. I have never completed a 240-unit 40B in 6 months, in the 180 days.
Okay.
We have always needed an extension. There is just so much information. I wouldn't even want to know what the hard copies look like. It must take up close to a conference room at this point. And that's typical for a project of this size. So, I do think that I think that the hearings have been highly organized. I think a lot of information has been reviewed at the hearings. I think the applicant has been very good about getting us information on time. I think that has a lot to do with why we're so far. We're close. We're very close, but But if we want to start working with the applicant on conditions, we would need more time. And again, I'm happy to provide Christine with, we have two 300-unit 40Bs that we just did. I'm happy to provide those decisions to you. They're public record. I can provide those decisions. You can see what these decisions look like. They're 30 pages, 100 conditions, pages and pages of findings. So they're substantial. But that actually would help you, if you're going to discuss conditions, it would help you to have examples. So I can,
Do you have one that's similar with some of the issues here that would
Yes.
be good guidance?
yes, there's almost all 40Bs have some type of wetland issues because they find properties, there's only certain properties that can, for 40Bs, you can waive
Only
certain.
sewers, if they don't have major hookups.
300 units, you need wastewater treatment.
Right.
So,
And traffic, probably not.
Traffic.
This is not the only time we've had traffic issues.
correct,
Okay.
correct.
That would be helpful.
That would be helpful.
It's all, it'd be tough to do it for the first time. Let's use someone
Speaking on
else's
the
experience.
timeline, though, what do you make of Attorney Freeman's final part of his letter saying that
Right.
they're agreeing to the extension, but with the expectation that the board will not take the full 40 days to make the final decision?
He can.
Positioning?
it's fine.
Say anything in
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, with extending it to November 20th, those 40 days fall within the holiday.
Oh, yeah, and that's the other thing that I was going to bring up, is that the timing is not ideal as it stands anyway, plus you have another one coming in. It's just not,
And that one, the pill letter application has been submitted to the state.
Has or has not?
Has been submitted. It was submitted 2 weeks ago.
so we don't know when that will come,
And when it comes back, the state will give the town 30 days to reply, but since it's a friendly 40B, the town's probably going to be turning around within a week. I mean, just, and there won't be any objections, so we'll be back in the state's hands, and the next thing that has to happen there is the state needs to schedule to come out, do a site visit, which I'm sure they will do. And I expect that we're going to see an authorization letter from the state, probably by the end of November, which means then we have 30 days to schedule our first meeting.
well, if it's a friendly 40B, we can always ask for an extension of the 30 days.
Oh, that's allowed on the 30 days?
You can ask for an extension in writing. It has to be in writing from the applicant.
Okay.
Yep.
To hold the first public meeting?
Okay, all right, good to know.
But I think right now we should just focus on this one.
Well, no, I realize that, but I just, looking at everyone's time schedules, and we got a smaller board.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we wait until the 14th to decide if we're going to have the applicant weigh in on potential conditions? Because by that point, you guys will have met with Christine and will have gone through what the peer reviewers are requesting for conditions.
Okay.
See how many there are.
Waivers?
Yes.
Conditions and waivers. Yes, I'm sorry. I thought you guys were going to go through the peer review reports and come up with what conditions the peer reviewers are
Yes, that's the next
suggesting.
goal.
Yeah. And then we would go over those with the applicant and the waivers, or just the waivers with the applicant?
I think, well, we need to do both. So it's, I think we'd like to probably kick things off with the conditions, just so that we get that and give them, time to start for their feedback, if need be. Because we can establish a condition, and whether they have feedback or not, that's our call.
They're going to have feedback. I
realize that.
So that's what I'm saying about the time. I would suggest that the waivers be dealt with first, because the waivers, if you are not going to grant a waiver, they might have to change their plans.
And I'm not, from initial review of it, because the board hasn't met and reviewed this, together, there aren't many waivers that are jumping out at me at the moment, okay? And it may be for yourself and so forth, but that's a learning process for us, and that's why here, here you give us the counsel.
Jumping out to you as a concern, or jumping out to
Yes.
you as?
That's a concern, you know.
Well, I'm hearing, if I could, Mr. Chairman, I'm hearing address, we need to be meeting on conditions, but for our applicant on the 14th of October, we should probably start with waivers first.
Correct. If we're done gathering evidence from their engineers and our peer reviewers, then we can start on waivers.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, I think, again, this was a draft from mine, which I took mostly from Amy. You know, hearing, as far as when she spoke, and then I also expanded upon it a little bit. I don't know if you may not have this, Amy.
Are we talking about conditions now?
Yes. This is from the conditions on, from wetlands and conservation. Oh, let me just walk around. Oh, yeah, here you go, Christine, sorry.
Thank you.
What's this? I think we have it.
It was in your folder. September 24th, subject, draft POV conditions related to conservation, wetlands, and stormwater. It was in your folder, guys.
No, it wasn't.
What do we got tonight?
Yeah, I don't think so.
That was in the folder, right?
I've got one. But I printed mine out.
Yeah, that should be in the folder.
Yeah, you all should have it.
Yeah.
It was put in your packet this morning.
We might have.
So, for example,
Tell you what, let's just start, we're going on a subject for a second. Copies.
Yeah, I'll just make some more copies,
All
okay.
right.
So if we go to the waivers, Chapter 310, Wetlands Protection, you have to decide if you're going to allow these waivers. Once you decide if you're going to allow these waivers, then we issue conditions. So for example, minimize intrusion into the 100-foot buffer zone to the wetlands to the greatest extent feasible. That we can't, that's not a condition.
Yeah, I understand it.
So that we can't do. Require, once the wetland delineations are confirmed, that the applicant will file a notice of intent with Mass DEP and the Harwich Conservation Commission for work in the buffer zone to wetlands and the riverfront area. I mean, that's, again, not really a
Amy, you
condition.
wait for 1 second here, because the rest of the board, for some reason, does not have a copy of that report. Okay,
But I guess what I'm saying is that we really shouldn't even be looking at conditions until we figure out waivers.
okay.
So,
But, again, just, what I was just trying to accomplish here was, we'll start to get these things, drafted, so we can, we don't, if, in my opinion, if we wait till too long, we won't have enough time to get drafts started and get them reviewed, that's all.
and then, so, other things we might want to,
Are you on waivers?
well, I'm just looking at some of the, design the stormwater system for at least a 50-year storm event.
We've already agreed to do that.
We'd have to check with our peer reviewer that's my recollection, but we have to check with our peer reviewer
Exactly.
that's what the
Right.
plans and the stormwater reports all
So-
show.
Amy Walski is taking that draft, and she's working on that to update it, so that we can, he has a clear viewpoint, from conservation, okay? But she already has that.
I have one. Thank you, yeah.
Okay, it's on here.
Now, one item,
Thank you.
I already handed mine off, these guys need it too.
Thank you.
Okay. So you commented, and this is the, in the discussion a moment ago regarding,
Over here. I don't know if he's in.
what doesn't qualify under state regulations. Now, during the meeting on the 17th, one resident brought up the fact about the use of rodenticides. And I thought that was a very, very valid point that was brought up by the public, and other chemicals that are going to get eaten by, besides potential rodents, it could be eaten by woodchucks, chipmunks, porcupines, and other animals, which then could be, somehow end up being, eaten by whatever, and we have a problem. Now, I'm sure the states has regulations that may permit the use of that type of chemical. But it doesn't, I don't see why, even though the state may have a certain guidelines on it, I don't feel the fact that it should limit us from requesting a condition which the applicant could then request, an appeal from the state to overrule. But if, in my opinion, I think we can go forward and request certain things like, not using fertilizers that will have high nitrogen content, not using pesticides that could end up, in the food chain of other animals in the woods. And I see no reason why we can't condition these things. And if the applicant, which I feel pretty confident that they would agree to find other methods of controlling any rodent situations besides using pesticides, like these. And so I just assume, on things that we feel that we want to take a step above of what the state requirements might be, that to present those conditions and get feedback from the applicant. Because certainly the applicant, I think so far, particularly on the environment and conservation issues, I was very encouraged by, their discussions and how they were trying to cooperate on the site with most, if not all, of the items which Amy, the conservation agent, had presented during the hearing. And I think I'd rather find ourselves taking a step above state requirements and try to do something that is best for the environment there, consideration of the location of the Heron River, as well as protecting animals as much as we can in the area.
So if you're going to implement that condition, you're going to present it to the applicant, and the applicant says no, because we're going to follow state regulations. Are you still going to put it in the order?
I don't know.
Decision?
So if we do that, can the state take individual conditions and erase them, or does the whole thing get thrown out?
So it depends. It depends on what the applicant appeals. If the applicant appeals certain conditions because they make the project uneconomic, then we usually, it's only those conditions. And in that situation, I need a peer reviewer to say, this condition is a valid condition. And we're not going to get that if we're asking them to go above and beyond state regulations.
If I could comment further, at our last meeting, this is a great discussion, but I want to focus it on the things where we disagree with the applicant, because I heard the applicant say, we'll use organic fertilizer. I heard the applicant say, we won't use rhododendron, rhodocide, whatever that thing's called. So let's focus, if we could, our attention tonight, if we're going to move along, on the things that we disagree with, because as long as they agree with them.
I want to put it in writing. They could agree in
we
a
have a
meeting.
condition.
My point is they have agreed.
So we'll make it a condition.
Yeah, make it a
Yeah,
condition.
thank you.
That's all I'm saying. We're going to
Right, but
make it.
they've agreed. Let's focus on the things they don't agree on.
I understand. My point here was, Ken, was the fact that even though it doesn't go along with state law of putting in a condition, which the applicant may or may not agree to, I'm sure they will on some of these things. So, yes, they have, but we still have to put it in the report, because guess what?
It's a condition.
We have a set of applicants right now that we need to put in a condition, because this current management won't be around possibly 20 years from now, and these conditions still have to apply.
Don't disagree. We're all on the same page.
Okay.
But along the lines of the rodenticide, this was to my point, or my question before, about things that are already regulated, right? Because we can put a condition on them, but the reality is one of the neighbors can go down to Ace Hardware and do what we've just prevented them from doing.
They've agreed to this.
I know, I hear you, Ken, but I'm just saying that.
Why are we spending this time if we
Ken,
think they agree with us?
it's open discussion for the
Yeah.
moment. Let's not, I don't want to limit people's point of views
Have a
or
rodent
discussion.
infestation.
Yeah, you're almost preventing them.
You're going to have, that potentially is a serious health problem for the residents of that structure. I don't use these things, because I don't have 240 units that I have to worry about.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, on your list, we're still at number 3, overall site plan. So are we?
Yeah, so I move through here. So
Okay.
that, we're all set in that, and, all right, so we need to review that with Christine. All right, childcare center, I think the new location, we all set on that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Recreational facilities, I don't, any issues there? It needs to be, that was no subject. Okay, emergency service access,
That's been settled. I had with the fire department and the police.
I believe the current Anastas Road, how they want to do the emergency access, I think that's fine at the moment.
Police and
Okay.
fire were satisfied.
So we're on,
Go back to this.
We're back to my memo of the 24th.
Not that I want to add more work for Christine.
Go
But
on.
maybe you could just check with fire and police on the emergence, on the Anastas Road.
Yes.
Just confirm with them.
yeah, I
Yeah,
thought they
I will also-
agreed.
I thought they were fine.
They agreed.
I thought they were fine, but it was a long time ago.
I think they are fine.
Okay.
Also, confirm with fire and police on the internal
Yep.
circulation. just to
Thank
make
you.
sure they're okay.
Okay.
with
All right,
the
Okay.
20-foot width.
Great.
okay. The,
And I think even, sorry not to belabor, but I think the fire department said that they didn't think the secondary egress.
Could you speak up, please?
I said, I think the fire department's report said that they didn't think the secondary egress was that important to them because they could make the trip either way.
yeah, they were looking, the emergency access is going to be there, but they're planning on going
Yeah.
down 124 to
Right.
Queen Anne Road.
Right.
It adds another minute or two.
And whatever, so they weren't concerned about it.
Right.
At the last meeting, the planning director, Christine, brought up in her discussion regarding the second egress to Main Street of being a potential conditioning by the end of the second phase. So the next step on that, which I had in discussions, it's my understanding that, and this would be, that would actually be Anastas Road, which has become, even though it's an ancient road, it's now, it's an approved right-of-way as far as for the development, both from Queen Anne Road and as well as from Main Street. Okay, so it is a road, not a driveway. Okay, so it's an, it potentially could become a 22-foot interconnecting road based upon recommendations from the planning director. Now, the next step on that, and I had asked a question to the highway department chief, director, is that the issues on roads and intersections and so forth, one of the approval process starts with the police department. And they have a formula that they use for, what I was told, to evaluate intersections, site views, et cetera, before they go forward. I had produced 2 sets of plans showing the whole development and the road going out to Anastas Road going out to Main Street, and as well as another version of a close-up of the intersection of eventually Anastas Road, well, I should say now, Anastas Road and Main Street. And that's been forwarded to the police department, and I've requested a meeting just to sit down and just get their viewpoint as how they would proceed, with this type of looking at it. In my opinion, and again, this is my opinion, and as well as, I believe, the planning directors, that, first of all, that second egress would, if it becomes a full-time, would decrease traffic onto Queen Anne Road by about 15%. It also would allow residents to have an easier access to, to get to any place in the rest of Harwich and downtown. And even though at this point there's questions on sight lines, the area has not been engineered, in my opinion, to first determine that there is a sightline issue if that paddock that's on down the street is actually, whether or not it's on a right-of-way, we don't know that. Second, I think as a result of this project, this development, excuse me, I didn't mean to call it a project, this development, all the mitigating factors that we've been discussed as far as improving the highway, improving traffic and safety, as well as the 300-page Harwich North traffic study, that a lot of work needs to be done by the town and perhaps maybe support from the state to improve, traffic in the area. So my recommendation on conditioning is going to be that, looking at conditioning that the second egress is established, if or when it is approved as far as that intersection is an appropriate place for traffic and safety. Because at the moment, we have had reports from both the applicant as well as VHB. VHB indicated they had concerns on sight lines, but my understanding is it's up to the town to determine, safety and so forth, and when I was told the police department. So,
Christine, did you have a comment? I saw you had your hand up a minute ago.
I did a while ago. I can't remember.
It wasn't about the road?
I'll get back to you if I can remember it. Sorry.
Regarding that,
So just to make sure I understand, so what you're saying is you are going to condition that we put a second...
I'm going to recommend.
Recommend
Okay.
that we were going to recommend a second road, which would take a lot of pressure off Queen Anne, 15% or
Right.
plus or minus. Makes sense. The problem is that a dangerous intersection.
We don't know that.
And you are going to then give a review, have the police and other safety authorities review it. So if we put that recommendation, the recommendation will be, if the police give approval, we will condition that road going in.
Yeah, well, if or when, it could be 5 years from now, we get the funds and Main Street is fixed, they decide to go with a freeway stop, whatever they might do for mitigation factors to improve traffic and safety. So I'm leaving it, I recommend we leave it an open-ended item that perhaps today it isn't ideal at the intersection of Main Street and Onassis Road. But when it does become improved, or the situation can be improved, that at that point, the condition goes into effect.
So the road doesn't get put in until they actually make a decision on putting a three-way stop there.
Oh, whatever factor is required for the town to say, there's no problem. I've had, and that has to be, so we're not, like today, it could possibly be easily overturned by the state. What I'm recommending is if we're going to condition a connector road, or making Onassis Road a 22-foot connector road to Main Street, that it be conditioned that it's only required for the applicant to do and expand it from emergency access to a 22-foot connector road if or when it can be done per state or local authorities, whatever is required, that it is now going to be, a reasonably safe intersection that has proper signage, stop signs, lights, whatever it might take, that the town authorities are happy with that intersection.
So unfortunately, with 40B, the regulations and the case law from the Housing Appeals Committee do not allow you to condition anything that has to come back.
You're kidding.
No. So we cannot, because we can't condition anything to say, the plan will change and you bring it back to the board for approval.
No, the plan doesn't change. We don't change the plan.
Well, the plan would change because it would go from emergency access to full access with 22 feet wide.
So we have to start up front requiring, we can't say it can be emergency access until phase 2.
But what's going to happen at phase 2?
And at the time of phase 2, it needs to be put in. So
Sure, if it needs to be put in, but not if it needs to be put in if the police department says it can, or if this board says it can.
So we need that determination by the end of this hearings from the police.
Do they have rights to 22 feet?
I believe so.
I mean, my
Or
view
maybe
of
we end up
the-
making a 20-foot connector. What is the current What is the
The
current,
internal circulation is 20 feet, and so if,
what's the approval of an access road from Queen Anne Road right now?
right now, it's
10,
it's 12 feet.
yeah, 12, yeah.
It's the minimum.
Yeah.
But,
It's an ancient way, it is a way that we have, there was a title search was done on that. But I don't know who owns on either side. I mean, there's no such, it's not a public way, so there's no right-of-way where they have extra area on the shoulder. But again, that's not necessarily before us, and I don't know if it's worth talking about that tonight, because we do not have the applicant's input on that. So perhaps that should be something we can talk about on the 14th,
okay.
and say, listen, if we wanted to do this, is this possible?
All right, well, okay, so there's two concerns here. I mean, one, does that right-of-way of the ancient way or an access road, can it be expanded from the initial 12 feet to, say, 20 feet, okay, or 22? Okay, that's one question, right, correct?
Correct. And I mean,
And who established the 12-foot? Where did that come from? Because right now, there are no easements.
probably it's the
Along-
paper street.
Paper
what-
street laws are 12 feet
No, it's what's shown on the plans. An access road is shown on plans,
at 12 feet.
mostly, yes. It's variable width, it says 12 feet variable width usually.
Oh,
I don't have that file in front
Okay.
of me.
do you happen to know that, Christine?
Right now, when it came before the planning board, it was approximately 12 feet at different stages with some variability.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't have specifically that
Okay.
exact
So,
measurements.
Well, what you're
But on
saying,
one of the plans, on several of the plans, they did intimate how wide the emergency access was going to be. I think that was at least 20 feet.
so the emergency access, they go down for 20 feet.
I think so. But let's double check that.
Okay, so,
But are you willing to condition a second access without a peer review, a traffic peer review? To tell you that 22 feet is okay? I don't know, I'm not a
I
traffic
understand,
engineer.
this is why we're here tonight, talking about
Yeah.
what needs to be accomplished.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm not a traffic engineer, I have no idea if 22 feet for secondary access is enough or 20 feet is enough, I don't know.
Our peer review today said it's not an acceptable second access.
Right.
That's what we have in front of us today. That's the evidence that we have in front of us today. But I'm hoping that the board, I'd like to know
Public, yeah, it's
I'd like to
okay,
know
it's emergency.
everybody else's opinion, by the way. What do you think of this?
As we're talking, that access that we're referring to comes back out on the main street.
Yeah.
The property owner is putting in trees.
Say that again?
The property owner is putting in trees. I happened to go by it today, and there were small pines being placed where where the horses are, on this side of the fence.
On the public roadside.
Well, I don't know if the public road is there. I just happened to go by
Well,
it.
that's a sightline issue. Right,
Yeah.
Right.
Of course it is, yeah.
but I think, if I understand correctly, what you're saying, Amy, about things that can come back, right, is that if this was a condition or a future aspect of the project, the road would have to be fully designed with drainage, stormwater, everything else.
Yep.
Even if it was a condition that it had to come back, because you can't have them come back and submit a design later.
Right, you have,
Design's being approved now.
yeah, or they can always come back for a modification.
Right.
But that modification has to come back to you with a public hearing.
Well, that's significant costs. They have to do what you just described. That's a pretty significant expenditure.
If they're going to make it secondary access, it has to be safe and,
Agreed.
and I would say there has to be drainage.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. That's
But
the first point of it.
and again, I don't know the plans, but having been in construction my entire life, I'm imagining right now the drainage is probably just a swale.
And that's what we'll do.
What's provided right now, right?
You mean for the emergency access?
For the emergency access road, yeah, because they wouldn't put in the whole stormwater connection and everything, right? It'd just be a swale on the side of the road, Cape Cod curb or something like that.
again, I don't know, I don't know engineering, so.
Okay, well, further review.
Well, is there, again, I'm still out, I'm hearing you say it's difficult for us to make this. I know that we have expert testimony that says we can't. That doesn't mean I'm against it. To be really clear. But what does the board feel? Chris, do you think that should be a full-time road? mean, that's what I'd like to hear from the
Under
board.
the ideal circumstances, yes, I would
Yes.
like to see them make that a full-time road. It's just, there's so many constraints, the size of the opening, that's obviously not a wide enough opening into that street. It sounds like there's a site limitation, they would probably have to take some land to do that, potentially, eminent domain, in order to make the size of the road.
Well-
There's a lot of constraints there that make it a difficult decision, so ideally, yeah, that would help a lot in the traffic flow.
John?
And the cost is gonna be pretty significant.
Yeah, no, I mean, the struggle that I'm having with this in regards to this specific project is we know out there looming is another project at the intersection of 124 and Queen Anne, as well as Eagle Pines in an adjacent town, right? And again, I'm not sure exactly where, but it seems like we want to lay all of that onto Pine Oaks, right? When nobody, project forward 5 years, no one has any idea what this section's gonna look like. If all of those projects end up happening, right? Especially Eagle Pines,
That's one in Dennis.
that's the one in Dennis, which the only egress and entrance is from Harwich, right? So on either end of this, and then you've got, the Pine Oaks Village here in the middle, again, and obviously we're not voting, we're doing anything, but, you get the potential for hundreds of additional units within basically using the same roads as feeders, built over phases over a period of time, to try to say right now what's gonna be needed and what's gonna alleviate things. I think we're just grasping at straws.
I don't disagree with your comment.
How about you, Marilyn?
I'm very concerned about that access, the second access. I don't see it I agree with Chris. I don't see it as a feasible project unless they want to take land by eminent domain and straighten out a lot of other issues. I agree, if it were there, it would alleviate some stress, but I don't think I think the project needs to be considered, whether it's feasible or not feasible, acceptable or not acceptable, without that.
Well, one thing to keep in mind, as far as going down an access road to Main Street, one of the abutters of that current road, the land is owned by Mid-Cape Homes or the applicant in some way.
I'm sure they won't object.
Okay, well, they might, who knows, but it's like if they want the road and it works, it's bordering their property. So that's an abutter. Now, what's happening with that property is not subject to this hearing. But we'll see what happens, and I think it's, obviously going down on a second egress, which some of us feel is important, recommended by the planning department, is something that needs to be pursued, and we gotta spend some more time on.
So one of the things with the second, right now, our peer reviewer has said traffic is not an extraordinary issue.
For the whole
He said,
period, right,
leave it the way it is, and this is not a problem.
exactly,
The state has said you can't turn them down.
right. As long as it's not a problem that's severe.
Our peer reviewer just said it wasn't a problem.
Right, I agree, right.
I heard him.
Yeah.
It's probably in print.
Yeah, and I'm not saying if they don't do a second egress, I'm going to vote
And the
against the
conditioning is going to
project.
be difficult because we can't deny it on traffic.
Have you remembered?
I was gonna say, if this is something that's not feasible as a condition, then we're gonna have to move on and not entertain conditioning that. Because I do agree with Amy, and I also think John made a good point, that if it's not at safe and adequate access, and we can't condition it as a part of the project, and we should table it and move on.
Well, my thought was to get a termination from, if they feel they're in a position to do so, regarding that entrance at the access point on an access road in Main Street, at that location, to get a termination from the police department. Is this something they feel is an adequate is an adequate situation, okay? And like I said, like anything else, they can determine to make it a three-way stop, and that solves all the issues regarding sightlines. Okay?
Could we move on from this?
No, certainly,
Do
I'm
you
just...
have an opinion, Al?
I already gave mine.
Okay.
All right, environmental wetlands conservation, we started looking at that, and I'll have a further update from Amy regarding those issues, and we can process that and decide what we can condition on. The process of renting the affordable units. So, I know it's something that, I don't know what our limitations are regarding, or what our opportunities are, and how that's conditioned. And,
So there's a whole section in the decisions on affordable units, and the affordable units, we can put a condition that they have to prioritize, that they have a local preference. That local preference is a policy by EOHLC, and the policy changes constantly. But we will put a condition, there's a standard condition we put in that local preference. The timeframe for protection of affordable units, they will sign an affordable housing affordability restriction with their subsidizing agency. They will also be required to sign a local affordability restriction. That's another condition. We provide that.
What does that look like?
It's I'll give you a doc. I'll give it to you.
Is it 30% of AMI?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought you meant for time.
for time, actually, it is, yeah.
It's, no, it's 80% AMI. They're proposing, so they're proposing a range. I have to go back in the application, but they're proposing a range from 30 to 80.
Yeah.
So we would keep that, whatever they're proposing, we keep that, and we require it to be affordable in perpetuity. The state does not. So once the state's affordable restriction dies, ours kicks in. So,
They would approve that. I mean, their whole goal here is to provide affordable housing.
oh, yeah, it's a condition that's never appealed. We are allowed to do that one thing. The state lets us do that one
Is
thing.
that for the 192 units that are 80% or less, or is that only for the 25% that make this qualify for affordable housing?
So, again, it would be, that's a really good question,
Yeah.
Ken, because they're offering more. So,
What's required for affordable, is it below 80?
It's like 25%. No, not percent of AMI, but what percent of the entire,
Yeah.
242 units,
But what-
25%.
What's defining affordable, 80% of AMI?
Correct.
That's like 75% of the project.
It is, but
It
the
is.
state
That's-
requirement
right.
is much different than that.
Right, it's 25%. So that's a very good question as to how much we can require to stay affordable.
But
If you're saying to put that as a condition,
correct.
Yes.
Yes. And then,
to stay with their plans as a.
Even though the state, they could go to state and the state could throw us out.
But that was how they presented the project to begin with. So their
No, we'll keep it
I don't think
CPA is based upon that, so they can't change that.
so
'cause-
we'll keep that. I don't think we should
Yeah,
discuss
they're
it.
not going to change it.
Wait, too many voices.
We shouldn't discuss it. We shouldn't discuss it in open meeting.
Yeah.
Wait,
And then who in Harwich government or state monitors rental rates and applicants selected? They have to, again, once I supply you with a draft decision, you'll see they have to provide us with a monitoring agent, they have to provide us with a lottery provision, things like that. So there's all kinds of requirements. So the state ultimately is the one that they answer to. They answer to their subsidizing agency, and they answer to ultimately EOHLC. Towns that have an affordable housing coordinator will, get CC'd on all the information. Here, Christine will get CC'd on everything, so it'll all go to her. So we'll make, so that's all
Those are the
set.
types of things I'm talking about that, to me, it doesn't make sense to make it a condition if it's already an established procedure under the regulations, right? I mean,
Well, no, but the condition that after
There's a
20 years
condition
is
that
up.
they have to provide a monitoring agent, they have to provide a lottery.
But
Yeah.
notifications and who
Yeah.
gets notified and stuff like that, that's already an established procedure.
So the question is on the rental rate, is that a formula-based thing?
Yes.
So
It's,
some percentage of
it goes with AMI. It's so the
the 30%
area
number or
median,
something like
area
that?
medium income. They're proposing 30, 60, and 80.
But it-
Actually, they might be 30, 50, 60, and 80.
They are, but that
Yeah,
just
they are.
qualifies you to be a participant.
Right.
It doesn't tell us what the rent is.
Oh, we can get that from are you sure they haven't provided us that?
Not in the initial proposal.
So it would most likely be in the project eligibility letter.
It is,
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Is that based on a formula?
It's based on what the,
30% of their income, or something like that?
oh, yes, so,
There was a table.
yes, it is. And it goes by household numbers.
Right.
Yeah, there's a whole.
So there's a formula. So
Yeah.
the C on renewal can be a maximum increase. That maximum increase is based off the formula.
It is,
The AMI goes up.
Yeah.
People, all that,
yeah.
the rent goes up based on.
If you want to call the AMI a formula, yes,
No,
yes.
well, the AMI
it's-
isn't a formula, but there's a formula that guides the rent off the AMI.
Yes.
So it
correct,
actually could go down
correct.
as well. I mean, not that
Because
it's-
they have two choices. I think you can charge so much per unit. You can have, let's just use the 50% number. The 30% number is $46,000, by the way. I just did that research. But if you
For a
belong to...
three-bedroom?
Pardon me?
Three-bedroom unit, 46?
No, that's that 30% of AMI. So I'm telling
That's
you,
what you're
Other salary.
America, average medium income for Harwich,
Right.
at 30% is only $46,000.
Yeah.
Right.
But you could make 26, or you could make 45, you might pay the same rent, because they have the option to
You
either
will.
charge so much per unit, or as a percentage of their income. And I think that's your question you're asking.
Right.
Is my rent 30, that's Section 8 housing, where your rent is 30% of your income.
That's not here.
That's not here. That's where I think we're finally getting to
Okay.
that question.
Okay, so in their project eligibility, there should be what their anticipated rents will be for each unit.
So, but the question, there's one here, C, on renewal, there can be a max percent increase.
I don't really know what
That's
that
not
means.
feasible.
No,
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
No, my question,
It means you can't raise it 10%, you can only raise it 2%.
that's my question. Do they have how are they governed on renewal rates?
I don't know. That's up to EOHLC.
That's it, I was kind of wondering. So, obviously, this is, as the phases come on, the next whatever number of years, 10 years, and we only have 242 units, and when there's a vacancy, and do they designate the units, the vacancy units, are the units up front designated what's going to be affordable or not, or do they just keep track of how many market rates they're allowed to rent out?
In a rental, they don't have to designate the actual unit doesn't have to
They
be
just go
designated.
number of two families, number of...
Usually, they will designate the units to us. They'll designate them on a plan, what units are going to be the affordable units, because the affordable units have to be equally dispersed throughout the project.
Right.
But for rental, they don't have to keep those. They can change another one into it.
So
So they can keep their percentages, always keep their percentages up to date.
if they have a vacancy and it was on a unit or whatever, they want to be able to keep their percentages correct, and this unit's got to go to an affordable family, designated affordable family, how long can that be vacant before they say,
This is all Judy questions. I have no idea.
okay, so they're, okay, all right.
It's it's all with EOHLC.
Okay.
It's not legal, it's Judy.
And
That's
that's
Judy's
nothing
stuff.
we're going to get involved with?
We're not getting involved in that
Okay,
now.
so I know that, okay. All right. All right, so at some point here, obviously, Amy, you started reviewing where we were at. We're going to start organizing, hearing notes for deliberation, which we're going to start to do, so I guess the next step here is, perhaps the 14th, whatever, having that agenda being on waivers, okay? All right. I don't know if anybody wants to start looking at those tonight, but I think it's going to take some time to go through all those listings.
Well, if you want to go through these with the applicant, there's no use going through them tonight. Because you already said there would be no comment from the applicant or from the public in this
Don't
meeting.
we have to have a board consensus? Don't have to, but shouldn't we have a relatively board consensus on these things before we talk to the applicant?
You can, but you're going to have to go through them all again. I mean,
You talking on the waivers?
Yeah.
Well, what if, I mean, why do we need a consensus if they agree to half of them?
What if we don't agree to have?
No, I'm saying we can decide afterwards. If they've already kind of, through the discussion in the meetings, decided that they'll agree to half of these, not request
Okay, thank you.
waivers, right?
Hanging on.
Like on the
Appreciate it,
stormwater.
thank you.
If they're gonna take it off the list, then we don't need a consensus, because they're not asking
Right, they
for it.
definitely have to update their waiver list.
I think we want an updated list before we start talking consensus, and,
All right, so,
I mean, 'cause there's at least 2 or 3 items that they've agreed already that they're not gonna ask a waiver for, or they've modified their plan in a way that won't require a waiver. There might be more.
Exactly.
okay. All right, so, next step, we're going to sit down with Christine, go over the conditions recommended by the peer reviewers, get that dispersed, we'll do that next week, get that dispersed to the board for review, and to Amy and Judy. And I think, that pretty much covers a lot of items I did tonight. I don't think there's any reason to go over, unless you have any thoughts here, how we're organizing deliberations at this point. Okay?
I don't.
That was just, again, as I did this, want to get all the key items that we need to go over for you and what the key issues are. So, based upon tonight, we need to, we're all set on everything except overall site plan review, and need to get a further update regarding, wetland conservation issues, and
The second egress, right?
and the second egress to get that off the table. But in the second egress situation, could be something we're just going to have to punt and just go with perhaps the emergency access if the state isn't going to allow us the opportunity to, to have them consider a change later on. But I'm still going to go forward to find out what the opinion is from the police department regarding that intersection, how they want to address it. And with that information, if they say that it's currently not in the proper sight lines or whatever for that location, there's no need of figuring out if we can go forward with a 20 or a 22 or whatever size, connector road. It's not an issue. So I'm going to start with that, and I'll get everyone feedback regarding that information. Okay?
Can I ask a purely theoretical?
Go for it. That's what we're here for. This is an open discussion tonight.
First one we've
This
had.
is to the group. And this is just in trying to think, really holistically on this whole thing. Like I said before about on the traffic, is we're trying to decide on one project when we know there's another 2 projects out there, right? We know that are happening and affect traffic. But, this is a phased 10-year project on property that these individuals already own, that is already zoned RL. So when you think about, all right, well, what ways could this go, right? It could be approved by this board with conditions, right? It could be disapproved and appealed, and then overturned by the state and still happen. And I think there's this feeling like, well, or it could get disapproved, period, and they give up and it stays virgin land. But much like Chloe's Path and what we see happening in East Harwich and everything, realistically, is this going to stay undeveloped land?
No.
If they were to walk away and say, we give up, they're going to sell the land to a developer who's going to come to the town and propose acre zoning compliant and build 30-some-odd homes here, as long as it's compliant with conservation and everything like that. And, Christie, it would have to go, obviously, to the planning board and stuff like that, but it just seems like that option of it's never going to be developed.
Well, that's off the
That's
table.
privately owned land in a district that's already zoned to allow for housing. It just doesn't seem like that is a realistic outcome looking forward 10 years into the future.
It isn't, and it's something which, the
And I know
public,
that's tough for some people, and again, some neighbors and some other people to accept, but that doesn't seem to be, you know, I don't think they're gonna walk away and put it in a conservation trust.
And in my point of view, again, this is me speaking, obviously, part of the properties here is land which as I read things, the developer, you know, Pine Oaks, or Mid-Cape Highway, and Mid-Cape Homes, has purchase and sales agreements with owners of that land. Those owners have already obviously demonstrated that they're ready to reap the benefits of their investment. So it's going to get, something's going to happen there regardless.
And again, I'm just trying to frame the conversation of.
That's coming down the
Right,
pike.
Yeah.
On that note, what I find as far as seeing this development here, if this acreage was to turn into, you know, another 40,000 square foot lot housing development, there would be far more trees taken down.
Right, far more trees,
You know,
a
far-
lesser septic system, far more nitrogen on lawns.
It's going to have a far better, it's going to have a bigger impact on the environment than this project would, if this becomes, you know, a single-family housing development. You know, and that's just my point of view, but regardless of that, that doesn't matter, we can't make a decision
Yeah, I mean, we can only
based
decide
upon
on what's proposed,
what's proposed.
but I think
But what you're saying here is, traffic is coming.
traffic's coming, yeah.
Right.
So,
So,
some sort of impact to the watershed is coming, you know, one way or the other. And probably, again, the alternative to this, and, you know, this is the discussion, the conditions and stuff, in a form of development that would not allow as many conditions.
That's a very good point, and that's why the regulations allow for 40 days to issue your decision, because the decisions are substantial.
Again, I want to make sure my thinking is right on that.
It
It's
is.
like if someone proposed just a normal housing development, had to go through, and got development, I mean, then you're talking a bunch of, you know, Title V septic systems, you're talking about not being able to restrict them from having lawns, and, you know, fertilizing those lawns and putting out
The
rat
waste,
killer and
the
stuff like
waste system, on the contrary, they're putting in here is gonna remove 80%
Yeah,
of
so
nitrogen
again, and
versus
I'm not
that
trying to
septic
advocate
system.
one way or the other, I'm just trying to, you know, again, from the standpoint of the traffic and everything else, is saying, it's not like it's gonna be in a stasis of, you know, that's not really an alternative. Honestly, to say that nothing's gonna change and that land's never gonna be developed. That's not, you know, there's other areas in town where that might be true, but looking at this lot, looking at the fact that it's already zoned for development, and it's already privately owned, it's highly unlikely that this land is gonna stay undeveloped in some form in the future.
yeah,
I have another topic of discussion, it's about deliberations, because we just lost Marilyn as a voting member.
Do we need to stop?
Well, no,
Or-
no, just that she would not
she
now
has to
be
watch
able
this
to
part.
vote.
yeah,
She's missed one meeting, and she made it up. and then-
she's missed 10 minutes of the meeting. Okay. All right, no, 6. So I think in that case, we need to adjourn the meeting.
You should absolutely adjourn the meeting.
So on that note, thank you for bringing it up, Ken. We will adjourn the meeting. Make a motion to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned at 9:23.
This is the only meeting, Dave,